After a game which left much to be desired from both the Mariners' bats and pitching, Harwich is going to hope to make a rally at home to try to get back into the win column here in 2021. As first batter down is Cade Fergus. Welcome into White House Field, as we had some technical difficulties to open up our broadcast, but we are happy to be with you so far. It's a strikeout swinging to open up the game here against Cade Fergus for the Gatemen. As we welcome you in here to White House Field. Tim Foley and Tyler Henry alongside you for what is game 12 of the Harwich Mariners 2021 season, facing off today against the Wareham Gatemen. And Spencer Geesting on the mound today for the Mariners. Let's not waste too much time. Let's run you down the Gatemen starting lineup. First, you just saw Cade Fergus in center field. He batted first. Tommy Troy, he is batting second. He plays second base. Cade Kern in right field. He bats third. Owen Diodati, he bats fourth in left field. Yohandy Morales, he bats fifth. He's in shortstop. Justin Williams, he bats sixth. He's the third baseman. Jack Brannigan, he bats seventh. He's the DH. Angelo Despina, he bats eighth. He's the first baseman. And Anthony Frechette, he'll bat ninth, and he is the catcher. A 2-1 count here to the batter in Tommy Troy. And Tyler, as this ball is popped up into foul territory, that'll go out of play. Welcome into the broadcast.
Yeah, good to be here. Good to be online. And again, good to be watching Spencer Geesting's second start here. We'll see how he responds. A little bit of a rough outing out of the pen, but always nice to be able to get the start. And you kind of understand that coming into a situation like this, anything that happens is pretty much entirely on you, but a lot of guys really like that.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the 2-2 pitch here, skied up, should be playable. McKeithen, ball is the call. Streams over to his right to make the catch, and there are two down now here in the top of the first inning. Let's run you down now the Mariners defense. Doing the pitching on the mound today for Harwich, as mentioned, Spencer Geesting. Aaron McKeithen just making the catch behind the plate. He'll do the catching. Carter Putz stands over at first. Hal Hughes on second. Zach Preisner stands at short. Brock Wilkins over at third. Press Kavanaugh is out in left. Chris Newell is out in center. And Jordan Beck is playing right today. And as you mentioned, the first pitch here to Cade Kern is dealt in low. Geesting coming out of the bullpen to make his first start in a Mariners uniform. And it's always interesting to see these guys who are typically relievers, or perhaps they haven't started yet, and they come in now and everything's on them, as blows a fastball up high, 89 miles per hour past Kern.
Yeah, you mentioned it. I mean, 27 appearances for him at Oregon, at UNC Charlotte, but only 4 of those starts. So being used in a bit of a different role here in the Cape.
Ball fouled straight back. Count now goes to 1-2.
And, we'll see how that happens. I mean, it can be good for a guy. Sometimes, these guys are used in the situation they're used in just because of the number of guys they have starting ahead of them. But Harwich right now, they're in desperate need of a couple more starting pitchers. And I feel like anyone that steps up is going to get an opportunity.
1-2 pitch chopped over to Preisner. Throw on to Putz in time to record the out. And down they go, 1-2-3 to open up the visitor half of the first inning. We'll be back with the home half in just a minute. Don't go too far. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back in here to White House Field on this lovely Monday evening here, day after the 4th of July. Really, it's nice to have a day like this after the entire weekend truly was so gloomy. Rain, of course, washing out Saturday's games, and a bit overcast to open up on Sunday. Ended up being a nice day, but a beautiful look here at first pitch in Harwich.
Yeah, one of the few times the league will actually go out of its way to make sure that everybody gets at least one home game during 4th of July weekend. But unfortunately for 5 teams on the Cape, rain and Mother Nature had other ideas. So Harwich just happy to be back here at home. It feels like it's been a while since we've actually played a home game here at White House Field that was actually played as opposed to the ones that get rained out.
Yes, of course. And so now let's take a look at Wareham. Their starting pitcher today, Christian Rubick. His last outing versus Orleans, pitched 1 inning, gave up 1 hit, didn't walk anybody, didn't allow any runs, and struck out 2. So another guy today who's coming out of the bullpen and is expected to go a few innings for his team. As we take a look at the defense around him, doing the catching today for Rubick is Anthony Frechette over at first, Angelo Despina. Tommy Troy plays second, Yohandy Morales plays short, Justin Williams over at third, Owen Diodati plays left field, Cade Ferguson center, and Cade Kearns is in right. Leadoff batter today for the Mariners is number 2, Tatum Levens. Typically a catcher coming out of Pitt. Stepping into the DH role today, he's had some offensive success of late. First pitch dealt into him. He sees it, bounces it off the mound, and that's going to get up the middle. A leadoff single for Tatum Levens.
And that's absolutely huge. You're talking about an offense yesterday that managed just 2 hits, just 3 total base runners against Brewster. So to get the leadoff man aboard here really just gives you a sense that this may be a precedent set here for the Mariners. And the guy trying to follow it up is Press Kavanaugh, who the last time he was here had a very good day.
Certainly did. Press Kavanaugh. It was he and Levens in that game against Katuitt who really helped drive the offense that day. As Rubick staring in, he delivers. Pitch finds its way in, down low, and misses 1-0. Harwich right now, in regards to the standings, currently sitting 5th in the East, although it's not all that far. It's still a tight race. YD standing at 14 points. They lead it. Harwich at the bottom at 9. That's just 2.5 games back. 1-0 pitch is cracked out into center field. That's going to get caught. The catch is made by Cade Fergus. How about that? Trailing back to his right, has to make a few steps back as well, and makes an absolute gem of a catch out in center field to deny Press Kavanaugh what would be a big base hit early in this game.
And that was interesting because you see Fergus, he takes his first step back like every outfielder is taught to do, but then he took a couple of steps in. He was confused as to how far that ball was going to drift out, but does a great job of keeping it in his sight the entire time, and then the jump at the end to secure that ball into the glove. SportsCenter top 10 material right there, and then he ends with 1 down.
A really nice play there made by Fergus, and this now brings up Brock Wilkin. Wilkin playing third today. First pitch, a called strike. Infield for Wareham, playing Wilkin as though he is a bit of a pull hitter. And in the outfield now you see Fergus in center, now shade on the right side of the 400 sign. Levens paces back to first to make sure he stays on the bag. Mariners wearing their cream whites with the red stirrups, and for the first time this season at home, they have those red hats finally ready. We'll get another look at them in the top of the second. As Wareham delivers, nice pitch there to throw off the timing of Wilkin. He's now behind in the count 0-2.
Yeah, and part of what's given Wilkin the advantage so far this season, he has remained very aggressive at the plate, but that also means oftentimes we'll see him get down in a count like this and have to fight his way back.
Behind 0-2 the pitch. A nice take from Wilkin there, able to draw a ball. 1-2. Wareham wearing these blue jerseys with the maroon red lettering, and then the white striping and their gray pants. A 1-2 count here. Rubick's delivery misses outside. 2 straight balls from Rubick.
And obviously the one thing that would make you feel even better than a leadoff single to start the inning be if you could find a way to bring him around to score, get on the board here early. Harwich has fallen behind in a majority of the games. Even the games that they've won, they've had to find ways to come back and get those victories late.
One that comes to mind, having given up a few runs in the first inning of that Chatham game, as Wilkin spoils one off along that first base side, and we'll do it again.
And the splits, I mean, you mentioned how good Harwich has been at home this season, but at home and against the West, that seems to be their sweet spot. And again, they'll have an opportunity to do that here. So far this year, 3-2 at home, 3-1-1 against the Western Division.
It's a 2-2 count. Rubick will check back on Levens over at first. 1 out. Levens got on with a leadoff single. Rubick delivers. Wilkin gets a piece of this one, sends it out to straightaway center. Settling underneath it is Fergus, and he'll make the catch to record the second out of the inning.
Yeah, much easier F8 that time out in center for Fergus, but kind of a loud out number 2 here. Wilkin put a good swing on it, just took it to the deepest part of the ballpark, and that'll bring up Jordan Beck, one of the newer additions here to this Harwich Mariners team, who has looked pretty good here in his first couple of outings, finding ways to get on base.
Yeah, Beck so far on base percentage sitting at about .364, although still looking for a bit in the batter's box in regards to hits. He's 2 for 9 so far on the season. He's got 2 outs against his team right now in the bottom of the first. Pitch dealt into him, misses for a ball, 1-0.
Up, and of course, another guy who came in and has a perfect on-base percentage, Chris Newell, a couple spots down the order. Got his first taste of Cape League action and got nailed in the elbow on his first pitch that he saw.
Yep, that's right. Took a ball right in the arm. We will see him later in this game, batting out of the 6th spot. Next pitch into Beck, misses, 2-0.
Mariners hoping they'll see him later this inning. Of course, with 2 outs, they need to find a way to drive runs in, but that's something they did an excellent job of a couple days ago against Katuitt. We mentioned a game that they score 10 runs. 6 of those come with 2 outs early in that inning. So just trying to find a way to battle back here, and a lot of confidence being placed in Jordan Beck, obviously, to put him in the cleanup spot.
2-0 pitch. That one finds its way in for a strike, a high pitch. Beck leaning back. Ball still finding the zone nonetheless.
Yeah, a lot of different options here for Rubick. We've seen that breaking ball coming in at about 75. I believe a slider coming in around 80, and then his fastball as well. He's been mixing it in here early.
Count now sits at 2-1. Checking back on Levens over at first. He'll make it back safely. We talked a bit about the standings over in the East. Of course, the West, beyond Bourne being undefeated at this point in the season, 9-0-2 with 20 points. It's a tight race for that second playoff spot at the moment. 2-1 pitch misses down low and away. Count now 3-1.
Well, Colin, you and I were kind of, Tim, you and I were kind of joking around about that yesterday, or earlier today, rather. I'm all over the place today. It's all good. But Harwich in last place, only 2.5 games out of first. Wareham coming into this game in second place. They're 5 games back in the West.
Yeah, it really is impressive what Bourne's been able to do right out of the gate, and it really is, as this pitch misses away to put Beck on base. So already 2 base runners in this one for the Mariners. We'll see Carter Putz up next. It really is something to see in regards to how Bourne has just gotten out to this insane start where you don't lose in the first 11 games. I mean, that is really impressive.
Well, and of course,
be able to do.
Yeah, and also, I mean, like everyone else, they've had the 2 rainouts. You wonder, would those 2 days have been the day when somebody found a way to beat them? But at this point, you got to be feeling good. You've opened a massive lead right now on the rest of the West. This is a Bourne team, especially. Think about how grueling the Cape season is. If they can lock down one of the 2 playoff spots early in this season, rest up some of their guys and get ready to make a push, this is a Bourne team that has not won the Cape League Championship Series in a very, very long time. You have to go all the way back to 2009 to find that.
Certainly putting themselves in a good position through the first quarter of the season. Of course, a 40-game season. They've already played 11 going into tonight. A 0-0 count here to the new batter in Putz. He takes a first pitch strike looking. Got some other games currently going on around the league. Other games going on tonight. Falmouth and YD currently in the bottom of the 7th over at Red Wilson Field. Falmouth leading 4-2 over the Red Sox. 0-1 count, misses down low, now 1-1. You also have Chatham and Hyannis getting ready to start things off. Katuitt and Bourne, they're in a 0-0 tie right now, top of the 4th inning, and then Orleans and Brewster also looking to start things off soon enough. A 1-1 count here to Putz. Chris Newell stands on deck. Should Putz be able to get on safely?
And look at his lead off first base right now. Obviously, you know, not the lead runner currently, but a big lead over there. Is looking the runner back to second here is the pitcher in Rubick.
Wareham opting not to keep the first baseman Despina on that first base bag to help pin the runner in Jordan Beck. They like their odds elsewhere, trying to get another out, perhaps, or not worrying just too much about pinning Beck. And 1-1 count. Hit right down the first baseline, just picked up by the first baseman, Despina. He'll hustle over to first to record the out, and that is the inning. So the Mariners, they do get 2 on, but nothing comes of it. We move now to the top of the second inning, where Harwich is going to be back in the field. Don't go too far. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into White House Field here. Again, a lovely Monday evening. Beautiful day has opened up. Warm weather has finally returned to the Cape. And the leadoff batter for the Gatemen here in the top of the second inning is Owen Diodati, one of the best hitters for the Gatemen so far this season, as he takes the first pitch he sees, skies it out to center field, and Chris Newell underneath it to make the catch, and that's just a small sample size. Of course, it didn't get down, but that just shows the kind of attitude he brings to the plate. He'll swing at the first thing he sees, and he'll take it on a ride.
Yeah, some guys really do like to be overly aggressive here, especially early on in the season when some of these pitchers are finding themselves. But so far, Giesting doing a good job pounding the zone, trusting his defense, and he's retired the first 4 with ease. We'll see if he can continue that as he faces the rest of the heart of the order.
Now you have Yohandy Morales, the shortstop today for the Gatemen. Takes a first pitch, called strike. Morales so far this season for Wareham. Still looking for his first hit. Just came in out of Miami. Sends one to Preisner's glove. Makes a spin. Throw on to Putz. Takes a skip and misses the glove of Putz. Let's see. They're going to award second base here to Morales. So he was still looking for his first hit of the season. He has gotten on once already with a walk, and he's on again here with an error made.
Yep. Looks like that will be an error, and again, it was tough up the middle, but the error is going to come on the throw, so the hit will be given here to Yohandy Morales. And again, not a lot you're going to be able to do there, but just did his best. A really good effort there by Preisner, even to put the ball on a line to where it could have been dug out there for an out, but now we'll see Spencer Giesting work out of the stretch here with a runner in scoring position.
And it's going to be an interesting combination here with Giesting and McKeithen all day behind the plate, because pitcher and catcher both from UNC Charlotte. They have that connection, as this pitch up high misses at 89 miles per hour, ball 1.
Well, and you and I have talked about this a lot. You know, who does that really favor? Does it favor the pitcher who knows the tendencies of the batter, or does it favor the batter who knows what's coming in? A lot of mind games going on between the two.
It's a 1-0 count here. Next pitch in, again a ball, misses, now 2-0.
Big spot here for the Gatemen, though, runner in scoring position, and just one away for a team that really is fighting for that second spot in the West, and they're fighting it off with a lot of other teams. You got Falmouth, Catuit, and Hyannis all in the mix there, a 3-way tie for that second playoff spot.
2-0 count, this ball sliced off. Foul will do it again. Count now 2-1.
And I don't know if that threw anybody off, the pitcher, the batter. I don't really know if that affected anything at all there. But the lights here at White House Field came on midway through the windup, or midway through the pitching motion of Spencer Giesting.
Yeah, it became noticeably brighter, as I have to imagine that threw somebody off their groove. Nonetheless, Williams able to slice it off. Williams over at third this evening for Wareham. He's ahead in the count, 2-1. A fastball at 90 miles per hour blows by Williams. Count now 2-2.
Yep, and we'll see if Giesting wants to dig in here, what he wants to go with. Plenty of options, as we have mentioned before, and see what he has in store for him here on a 2-2 count. Fastball, changeup, slider, the mix for Giesting.
Looks back to second, steps and delivers. Fouled straight back, will do it again. And that's been a bit of a story so far for the Mariners, as of course that last play being ruled an error, I believe on Preisner, where this Harwich defense has not always been able to make the most of these defensive opportunities that they've been given early in games, and they allow it to kind of build up and overwhelm them into the later innings. As this ball's again sliced off, a battle here just into the Wareham dugout, actually, as Putz thought he had a chance of making a play on it, got down a lot faster than perhaps it seemed.
Yeah, under normal circumstances, you'd say if that thing hangs up, maybe he has a chance to reach the glove over, but he also would have been trying to reach it over into unfriendly territory with all the gatemen standing in front of the fence here. So on another 2-2, we'll see again what Giesting wants to go to. Not a high-volume strikeout guy, at least not so far this season. Had a very high volume of strikeouts at UNC Charlotte a year ago. Get to that here in just a moment.
A 2-2 count. Check swing, did he go? He did. Down swinging goes Justin Williams, and it's strikeout number 2 on the day for Giesting.
Yeah, Giesting in 2021, 73 strikeouts compared to only 35 walks out of the bullpen. 52 2/3 innings, what he worked with that season. A 5.47 ERA, but again, 73 Ks. He is definitely a high-volume strikeout guy and looking to really start to flex that here in the Cape.
And Giesting, a guy who just recently had a birthday back on July 2nd. Born back in 2001, just turned 20. Happy belated. Fresh count to the new batter in Jack Brannigan. First pitch is in for a strike, 0-1.
Well, and of course, the big storyline for Wareham, we haven't even really had a chance to talk about yet. We've talked about Hyannis getting beat up in 2019 because they lost 8 guys to Team USA. Wareham just lost 12 guys to Team USA. That is absolutely unheard of, and they still have a lot of questions left to answer after those departures.
0-1 count. Ball fouled off, and that's going to get down in foul territory. I mean, they do still have some guys who have certainly been contributors to this point in the season, and they have guys who have just recently come in. Morales, I mentioned, only with, I believe, 1 game under his belt so far in a Gateman uniform. You have Diodati still playing for your team, and he's been excellent to start the season for Wareham. So they certainly do still have some pieces, but it's always tricky when you lose that many guys, and just you lose a fabric of the team, and you have to find a new identity in a sense. As the 0-2 pitch misses high and away at 90 miles an hour. 1-2 count.
Well, we talked about, a team in Bourne that really kind of went the other way with that. They picked a lot of younger guys that weren't at risk of getting drafted or draft eligible. But now you're talking about a team on the other side of it that, again, they're basically doing a full facelift of the team here midway through the season, and they might do it again when the draft hits in a week. We don't know how many more of these Gatemen might be taking off here and prematurely finishing their 2021 summer.
The 1-2 pitch, change up high. Count now 2-2, and that's really where we're going to see what these teams are exactly made of, is once that draft passes, or even a few days prior if you have guys heading out early to try and get ready, just see what these teams actually have to work with, and then you have guys who will actually be allowed to get more regular reps, as the guys who are leaving early, they may be seeing more time now. Guys who will be here all summer, of course, will then start to filter through at a more regular clip. 2-2 pitch, spoiled off, 2-2, the count will stay.
Yeah, good defensive AB here for Brannigan, who, again, is just fouling everything that's close off. He's stayed cautious, started the outing off down 0-2. And has since battled his way back into a 2-2 count. Runner still in scoring position here again for the M's, trying not to fall behind early, as it seems they have in just so many games this year.
Gave up the few runs yesterday against Brewster in the bottom of the second inning. 2-2 count delivers. That misses high. Count now full. There's a 3-spot the Whitecaps put up back in the second yesterday, and they did not look back, as it was a dominant effort from Mikowski and Fitzpatrick to lock that victory down for Brewster. So you handy Morales standing on second. Brannigan still up to bat here. Giesting stares back. The 3-2. Strike 3, got him looking. Down goes Brannigan. That's strikeout number 3 for Giesting. We move now to the bottom of the second inning. It'll be the 6, 7, 8 batters due up for the Mariners. We'll see them in just a moment. Don't go too far. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into White House Field. Chris Newell is going to lead it off for the Mariners, playing in the 6th spot here today, playing out in center field. Had some action to open up that second inning for Harwich. Now makes his first at-bat as being a regular part of the lineup. First pitch dealt to him from Christian Rubick. Misses for a ball, 1-0.
Yep, and again, Newell, one of those guys, too, that he walked into the CCBL yesterday.
Ball hit out into left field. That's going to get down a short hop in front of Diodati. Leadoff man is on once again for the Mariners.
And that's good to see because, again, yesterday he came into he only saw one pitch in the entire CCBL, and he got beamed in the shoulder. So not a great start for him, but in 2 plate appearances, he's found base twice. And that'll bring up Aaron McKeithen, who, again, has just been tearing the cover off the ball in select games.
McKeithen so far this season batting 167, 2 for 12, but he did have a really nice game against Falmouth, where he really helped propel the team to that victory over at Gov Fuller Field. Pitch is in for a called strike, 0-1.
Yep, and everything gets really interesting. I mean, again, if you're McKeithen, the big thing right now in 2021, good numbers, but still trying to put it together consistently here for Harwich instead of a couple of big games followed by a couple of small games.
Runner goes for second. Throw down to the bag. On the opposite side was the throw. Safe is Chris Newell. It was a quick throw down from Frechette, but missed the target, and he threw it on the third base side of second, which allowed the runner in Newell to sneak in and stand safely now with no outs.
Yeah, and we got our first look this time at the true speed of Chris Newell as he takes off for second. That was a really good throw by Frechette behind the plate, but as you mentioned, goes to the wrong side of the bag, and by the time you sweep that glove across, if you're Morales, it's just not going to be in time.
That's a lot of time to lose if you have to sweep it across from that third base side all the way to that first base side. And against a guy like Newell, you play center at a school like UVA, or center field, I should say, you're going to be fast. You're going to be speedy. You have to be. A 1-1 count now here to McKeithen. Gets a piece of this one. Skied up, first baseman Despina settling under it, makes the catch, and there's one out now in the bottom of the second.
Yep, and Harwich, I mean, again, similar to what happened back in that first inning, they were able to get the leadoff man on. They got him second, but that seems to be the red line zone here for Harwich. They have struggled to get guys beyond second base. Of course, that's a lot different in wins than in losses. I think we mentioned this on the broadcast last night, but in the 4 wins for the Mariners this season, 37 runs scored. In their 6 non-wins, that number dips to 8, and 4 of those came in 1 of those 6 non-wins.
First pitch to Preisner, grounded over to short. Checks over at second, throw on to first to record the out, and again, as the leadoff runner gets on, the next 2 are recorded out. 6-3 is the ruling, and this will bring up Hal Hughes.
And I don't know if there was some kind of an uber-aggressive shift there, but it almost looked like, from what I saw, I think Rubick was the one covering first base on that play. So that was interesting.
I'd have to look back at it, but we did see the first baseman Despina walking over to first from an odd angle. So it may have been some sort of bizarre shift. Nonetheless, I mean, seemed to work. Fresh count here to Hughes, and he'll take a bean up in the shoulder. So now you have runners on first and second.
And this is, again, the exact situation that the Mariners had back in the first inning. Runners on first and second, leadoff man with a single, and then the pitcher finds a way, whether it's via a walk or a hit by pitch, to put the next guy on base. But on the bright side, the guy who hit that leadoff single to start the game is now at the plate in Tatum Levens.
You know, Levens, of course, as mentioned, 1 for 1 with that leadoff single. Ended up being stranded over at second. Did not have much to do all that inning. Rubick stares in, comes set, glances back to second, and delivers. First pitch seen, cracks over to second base, throw on to second, and that's going to be in time for the out. So Levens goes down, grounding out to second, and 2 are left stranding for Harwich. We'll be back with the top of the third inning in just a minute. Don't go too far. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into White House Field. Mariners fans, earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. In-person and high-flex classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, accounting, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu. Welcome back into White House Field, top of the third inning. Swinging at the first pitch he sees is Anthony Frechette. Or pardon me, Angelo Despina, as he's leading off the top of the third here. It's been 2 quick innings for Wareham at the plate. The only runner they got on, it was via error. And so they're looking for some more solid contact here.
Yeah, so far just the one hit in this one again for Wareham, just with the aforementioned Yohandy Morales, but nothing that's really threatened the Mariners so far.
0-2 pitch misses inside, 1-0.
And a big part of that is 3 strikeouts here early for Giesting, who again is just really laying it on thick against Wareham, but still trying to figure out if he can slot in and be one of these potential starters here for Harwich. Don't know how long he'll go into this game.
That's the thing to keep an eye on, as the 1-2 pitch misses just outside. Despina thought about offering on it. He decides to hold up, and of course we've talked about it a bit pre-game and a bit last game as well, but with the losses of Di Nicola and Shawver, it really is going to be interesting to see which of these starters, which of these relievers even for the Mariners, as the 2-2 pitch misses up high, who's going to be able to stretch out what it is they're capable of doing on the mound to fill out a more of a starting role. And that's sometimes the goal with some of these relievers coming into summer ball, is these college coaches want to see them stretch out more, have longer outings, play as a starter, and try and join their rotation the following spring. Payoff pitch in there for a strike, as a lukewarm reaction from the umpire behind home plate. It is a called strike 3, so the first batter goes down looking into Despina.
Yeah, I'm with you. Some people appreciate subtlety. Broadcasters, not so much. we kind of enjoy the guys that are a little more animated. It makes it a lot easier to see from up here. But a good pitch there gets Despina. And really quickly, Tim, just as we mentioned that, a development up in the Harwich bullpen, Eric Razelman getting up and warm. He'll be making his Harwich debut if he comes in today. It's the first pitch here. Misses low.
Would be the first time we would see him, of course. Had a chance to speak with him briefly as the umpire behind home plate waves off the ball boy for the Mariners, and as well as the ball girl for Wareham, as they were each rushing in to try and steal the spotlight. A 1-0 pitch from Giesting. This one hit on a line out to right. Right underneath it is Beck, and he'll make the catch to record the second out of the inning.
Yep, and again, this is exactly what Spencer Giesting has done a good job of this season. Yes, he's going to come back with those strikeout pitches, but not afraid to put it in the zone, trust his defense. It sounds like an overused cliche, but you see it in action here. His pitch count is still relatively low at this point in the game, but he has so far retired everyone in the lineup except for Yohandy Morales, and now he'll face the top of the order once more.
Fergus steps in once more, struck out swinging to open up the game, and takes a big cut at the first pitch he sees. He's behind the count now, 0-1. A 1 pitch. That ball just misses inside. Count now goes to 1-1.
And you wonder if this might be a 3-3-3 situation here for Coach Steve Englert, talking about bringing a guy like Razelman in. We don't know how deep he'll go either.
As the 1-1 pitch misses down low. No, and it really, that's always what it feels like with when you see these guys first time around. It's kind of, okay, we've seen you throw bullpen, but what have you got in a game situation? 2-1 pitch, hit squarely out to center field, takes a hop over second, and in safely on first with a 2-out single is Cade Fergus.
Yep, Fergus, a good piece of hitting there. Clearly didn't square it up. You can kind of hear off the bat, he just missed that one by a bit, but good enough to put a little flare out into straightaway center field. And I think you mentioned it earlier. I don't know that we ever got a chance to revisit it. I'm digging the Harwich hats. I don't know how you're feeling about these, but the red caps with the white brim are almost a cream brim. It's a good look here for the Mariners.
Of course, the cream brim to match those cream unis that they have also going on. There was a bit of a delay to start the season to get those red hats up in game ready appearance, as of course, as with the away hats for the Mariners this season, they are all sporting patches to honor the passing of longtime Cape League Commissioner Paul Gallup, who passed this past spring. And now the red ones, they each sporting a patch as well that has the initials of Commissioner Gallup. As first pitch to the new batter in Troy is popped up. Catch made by Putz, has to stretch out to his right. He does make the grab, however, so that will record the out. Second time Troy has popped up. No runs come across yet in this one. We move now to the bottom of the third. 0-0 game from Harwich. Don't go too far. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into White House Field. Let's take a moment here in the bottom of the third to take a look at what's going on around the league. Chatham currently leading Hyannis by a score of 4-0. That last update coming from the Chatham Twitter, as their live stats not too active so far this evening. Cotuit leads Bourne 2-0 in the bottom of the fifth. That's a game we'll have to keep an eye on if Cotuit's able to stay ahead. Of course, we are tied here. Brewster and Orleans, they currently sit in a 0-0 draw in the bottom of the first. And then Falmouth now trailing YD, despite being ahead 4-2. They now trail 5-4 in the top of the ninth. Commodores down to their final few at-bats. First pitch into the new batter in Press Kavanaugh, as we are through the lineup for the second time. Of course, Levin's last time out. Grounded out to second as he was put out at second. Ball hit on the end of the bat out to left field. A leadoff single once again for the Mariners. This time it's Press Kavanaugh getting one off the tip of the bat and blooping it out to left.
Yep, 3 straight leadoff singles so far. They've managed to get that guy to second base throughout the first 2 innings, but still have not brought anybody around to third. But here's a guy at the plate in Brock Wilkin who can certainly do that. We've seen the slugging of Wilkin so far this year. He is one of the top markers in not only the Eastern Division, but also across the CCBL in slugging percentage. So we'll see if he can put one into a gap somewhere here, get the runner to third.
Right now batting .302, 13 for 43 on the season is Wilkin, and he's got some pop. He's hit a couple home runs. He has 2, the only Mariner with multiple home runs so far on this season. He's facing an 0-1 count now here from the pitcher Rubick. Rubick still on the mound, giving up 3 hits now so far in this one. Takes a pitch for a ball outside, count 1-1.
I think one other thing we didn't mention earlier, in addition to losing 12 players to Team USA, this is a Wareham Gateman team that also loses their skipper in Jerry Weinstein.
1-1 pitch, misses outside, 2-1.
So taking over for him is Don Snedden, but not a bad guy to have take over. Snedden led the team to their most recent CCBL championship title back in 2018.
Of course, nice to have a guy familiar with the organization, familiar with how the Cape runs, and familiar with success. As this ball gets away from the catcher, Frechette, that'll allow Kavanaugh to run down to second. Count now moves to 3-1 with Kavanaugh standing on second.
Yep, and here we are again. Got a runner in scoring position here, nobody out. Leadoff man on, and Brock Wilkin this time at the plate.
A 3-1 count now here. Ball thrown in, and that finds a way into the zone, strike 2, so the count is now full.
Yep, not a bad take there by Wilkin. He's seen a couple of pitches outside of the zone back-to-back here to make it 3-1, and sits on a fastball. Now he can wait to try to pick his pitch and drive it. It's going to have to be right here on a 3-2.
The pitch just misses for ball 4. Nice patience from Wilkin as he's able to draw the walk. Mariners now have the first 2 guys on with no outs for the first time so far this game.
Yep, and this is the first time that we've seen this, because after a leadoff single, typically 2 outs in a row here for the Harwich Mariners in innings number 1 and 2. Here an opportunity with 2 aboard and nobody out. And there is an arm up and warming right now out in that Wareham bullpen. You also wonder how far Christian Rubick might be allowed to go into this game. Keep in mind his longest outing here in the Cape through 2 appearances was just 1 inning prior to this game, so he may be on a bit of an innings limit as well.
Yeah, again, of course, as a reliever, you don't want to have a guy come out and then throw 6 innings. It is a bit of a process that really takes the whole summer to try and stretch a guy out like that. As first pitch into the batter, Beck is in for a called strike 1.
And we've seen players all throughout, I mean, not just Cape League history, but across a lot of these summer leagues that have found success with that. They're used to coming out of the bullpen. They learn what it's like to be a starter. They get that, you know, kind of entrance mentality, if you will, and they go back to their university and end up having really solid seasons as starters following the summer.
On the 0-1 count, Rubick steps off to hold the runner in Kavanaugh at second. And it really does help to gain that other perspective, because as a bullpen guy, you're really just expected to be thrown in whenever. You're not knowing when or in what situation you're going to be put into a game. The 0-1 pitch finds its way in for another called strike, 0-2. But for a starter, you have that expectation all day long, perhaps even the day before, where you know you're going to be that guy. You have to stay mentally ready and kind of go through your routine for the whole lead up to your start. It's an 0-2 count now here to Beck. Got on with a walk last time around. The pitch. Misses inside. Frechette has it bounce off his gloves, and now you have a chance for Wareham to pick off the runner at first, but getting back is Wilkin. Now, there was a bit of a miscommunication on the base paths. Press Kavanaugh did not want to run for third, but you had Brock Wilkin, who did want to run for second. So Wilkin was well on his way, while Kavanaugh had decided to hold up on his way to third, and that led to a situation where Wilkin nearly gets picked off over at first.
Well, we know the speed that Kavanaugh has down there at second base, but the problem there, it's up to Kavanaugh's discretion as to whether he wants to run or not, whereas you have a coach in Pat Sullivan that's going to be barking out orders at Brock Wilkin on that play.
And Beck chases after one there, cannot find it. A strikeout. Down goes Beck. That's the first strikeout of the day from Christian Rubick.
Yeah, and that'll bring up Carter Putz. But going back to that point you were talking about earlier, transitioning from the reliever role to the starting role, I had an opportunity to talk to a guy named Dylan Bowers. He played for UNC this season, and he said that the biggest thing that really kind of gave him comfort when he started working as a starting pitcher was all those zeros on the scoreboard. He's like, there weren't two guys in scoring position when I started my outing. We weren't down by 2. We weren't up by 3. It was just a fresh start to work with.
And this ball does get away from Frechette, lands foul, and this will allow the runners to advance to second and third. So second time around, communication is clear between Kavanaugh, Wilkin, and the base coaches for the Mariners, and the runners do advance. So now you have 2 in scoring position with just 1 out.
Absolutely. Anytime a ball pops up that high in the air, there's no chance, even if the catcher bare hands it, that he's going to be able to find a way to get you at a bag. So the Mariners, they have to capitalize here. Anything short of at least 1 run here is really going to put the Mariners behind the 8 ball here, despite the fact that it's still a 0-0 game.
No force out anymore. You did have that double play threat. 1-0 pitch hit on the ground. Up the middle. That gets through. Kavanaugh comes home to score. Wilkins held at third. And going for second is Putz because nobody was on the bag. He's in safe. Putz caught everybody sleeping as the ball was thrown into the outfield, or hit rather, thrown back in. Nobody was covering that second base bag, too preoccupied with their formations, trying to make sure Kavanaugh was potentially thrown out at home, or that Wilkin was caught over at third. A lucky break for the Mariners, and now run it back. 2 in scoring position, no outs, or 1 out rather, and now you have Chris Newell, who got a single to lead off the second inning his last time at bat.
And we call that good aggressive base running because he was safe at second. Because, of course, if you get nailed at second, it looks like a bonehead play. But, yeah, a hustle double there for Putz. He took advantage. He saw nobody was coming in. And I think Putz almost expected them to try to send the runner around third. But you saw Coach Tebow's arms go up and signal, you know, we're holding up the runner at third base here. So the ball gets cut off, no play at the plate, and that forced Putz to really get on his horse and come into second. And how about this, Tim? We've already got a pitching change. It looks like this is going to be the end of the line for Christian Rubick.
That will be the end of the day for Christian Rubick. New pitcher coming onto the mound for the Gatemen. We'll step aside for just a minute to try and get you the numbers on the new guy. Don't go too far. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into White House Field. So the day is done for Christian Rubick. Elias Saul out of Sacramento State, the Vancouver, British Columbia native, now on the mound for the Gatemen, making his CCBL debut, as he does not have any stats yet to his name. Standing over on second now for the Mariners is Carter Putz. Standing on third is Brock Wilkin. First pitch dealt into Newell is a well-hit ball that goes foul down that third base line. And so it was Wilkin who got on with a walk, and then Putz ended up driving him around to third. And, of course, Kavanaugh, who was already standing on second, he was standing on third after the wild pitch allowed the runners to advance. And so it was an easy chance for the Mariners to drive one around, and it's another chance here with only one out. 1-1 to count.
Well, and I can actually give you a little bit of an extra scouting report here on Eli Saul, because I almost had a chance to watch him in the WAC this season, but unfortunately his season was cut short midway through the year. That obviously it wasn't explained to me what exactly it was, but to my understanding, recovering from some kind of a minor injury.
Ball's fouled off over our heads. Count now 1-2.
So he did not play the rest of the season, did not play in the WAC tournament for a really good Sacramento State team. I believe this is his first foray back into baseball, and it comes in a really big spot here against the Harwich Mariners. 2 on in scoring position, kind of getting thrown to with his feet to the fire here.
Yeah, a very, very tough spot to be put into. Only one out. Newell, and he is battling right now. That's 3 balls fouled off. And Saul, like you said, been off for months to this point. To be able to come back here, his last appearance, a March 10th appearance at San Francisco, as Newell skies one up. Getting underneath of the second baseman, Tommy Troy, standing on the mound. He'll make the catch for out number 2.
Yeah, and that's tough out there. You know, obviously anything driven high in the air out to the outfield, you're probably going to get the sac fly. On a ground ball, you always have the chance. But now 2 away here, and it stands to Aaron McKeithen to try and be the guy who drives a couple in here for the M's. Again, I mean, you still feel good about having a 1-0 lead here, Tim, but it feels like if you don't get at least one more, again, this just does not feel like as productive an inning, obviously, as what you would like to have here if you're the M's.
Harwich has already left 4 runners on base. They stand to leave 2 more should they not be able to drive home Wilkin and Putz. Count here sits now at 1-0 on the fresh count to McKeithen. McKeithen popped up to first his last at-bat. Takes another pitch, this one up high, 2-0.
Yep, and you get the feeling he's going to keep that same steady, very patient approach at the plate, especially here with a 2-0 count. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him swinging away, though. This is where the pitcher's going to try to get back in.
And he does. Next pitch is a called strike, 2-1. Eli Saul this season at Sacramento State started 13 games. He had a 2-4 record. Struck out 38 and walked 21. The 2-1 count here. McKeithen hits one on the ground. That's going to stay fair. Throw on from Williams to first is in time to record the out. The Mariners do get 1 run, but they strand 2 more. They've stranded 2 in each inning so far. We move now to the top of the 4th inning. Gatemen are going to look to come back. We'll be back in just a minute. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to the White House Field here in Harwich. Fans really packing this place now as the berms on each the first and third base sides much fuller than they were over at first pitch, and the bleachers as well, each on those sides also loaded up. And it's one of my favorite things to see this ballpark filled up as the game goes on and have a raucous crowd on hand here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. As the weather has kind of cleared off here a bit, it's good to see fans returning to the ballpark. That opening day attendance really wasn't a fluke. And, yeah, here at White House Field, things are cooking.
And so leading off for Wareham in just a moment will be Cade Kern. He grounded out to short his last time up, and Kern, a guy for Wareham, batting .200 on the season, 8 for 40. He does have 11 RBI, though. That's second on the team, so typically familiar with coming in a big spot and driving guys around. This time around, though, bases are fresh. As we pass it off now for play-by-play for the following 3 innings, my broadcast partner, Tyler Henry.
Yep, and it'll be interesting to see how Wareham responds here as we're working our way into inning number 4. Cade Kern at the plate, as you mentioned, one of the big stars of this team. So leaving the count at 1-1. Kern and Diodati seem to be the 2 guys here that Wareham is going to be relying on after the departure of the Team USA guys. As here's a ball taken to short, picked up by Preisner. Turns, throws to first in time for the first out of the inning. 1 down. So we'll see as the second part of that, Owen Diodati steps back to the plate here. And Tim Diodati flied out to center his first time up. Wasn't afraid to attack that first pitch. He was well short of the fence, but we've seen throughout the course of the season what he's capable of when it comes to some of these power numbers.
I mean, most certainly, and you do get a bit of a taste of it with that aggressiveness he had in the last at-bat. Sent it out to center, like you said, a bit well short of the fence, but not afraid to swing it.
He'll swing at the first pitch he sees again. Once again, it's out to center field. This time, it's in front of Newell, and that'll be a single here for Owen Diodati with 1 away in the inning. That'll bring up Yohandy Morales, who the first time through the order was the only member of the Wareham Gatemen to reach base.
And that's just a style for Diodati. Once again, aggressive, and it pays off for him this time. He knew he had the adjustment made, and was finally able to get a read on that pitch from Giesting. As much of an adjustment as you can make on the second pitch you see from a guy.
Absolutely. See what happens here with Morales at the dish. Swings at the first pitch he sees, cuts through it for strike 1. And you know, we've seen Wareham, they've gotten a couple of guys on base, but similar to Harwich, they've struggled to put them in scoring position. We had a chance to talk with some of the guys that work for this Wareham Gateman team and on their media team, and they said it's been kind of a similar issue to what we've seen for the Mariners so far this season, as this pitch misses to even the count at 1-1. Their guys are getting on well. It's just bringing them around and bringing them in that can be a difficulty at times.
Yeah, base running is so important. You can't overlook a lot of the little things. You expect hits to drive guys around, but if you don't know how to run, it can really back you up.
1-1 fastball, misses low and inside here. And the count goes to 2-1 here on Morales, who, Tim, I believe, as you mentioned, still kind of just getting his feet wet here in the Cape Cod Baseball League. And there's such a stigma around the pitching in this league. You know you're facing the best guys from around the country every single night. And some guys thrive in that situation, or they're up for the challenge. But for a lot of guys, you get thrown into the deep end. It's kind of sink or swim here early on in your career, on the Cape anyway. As Giesting sets, brings home the 2-1. That'll miss upstairs, count to 3-1.
And guys might not find success this season, and not to imply that that will be the case all season long for Yohandy Morales, but there are times where guys won't have the greatest outings across an entire season even, when you expect adjustments to be made, but then they take what they learn across that season, they bring it back to their collegiate team, and they just bloom.
Absolutely. As Giesting will deliver a walk here, that'll be just the first walk issued this afternoon. And that'll put runners on first and second here for Justin Williams. Williams, a strikeout victim his last time up. So we see Eric Razelman is still up and warming out in the Harwich bullpen, and you wonder how long of a leash Giesting is on here with the guy already up and warming. But again, try not to stretch him out too far. You obviously don't want to damage anybody's arm, especially at this point in the season, for a guy who is not typically used in this type of capacity.
No, definitely not. It's really just about getting him ready for his career, as there is the pitching coach coming out now for the Mariners.
And typically, if Coach Berger goes out there, it's not for a pitching change. Usually he's just going to have a word with his guy. But Let's really take a second here during this break and kind of look at what the Harwich Mariners are working with in terms of starting pitching. You've got Cam Schlittler, who looked good through the game that was washed out against Orleans, but got roughed up a little bit after that. We've seen good things out of Billy Seidel and Andrew Mosiello, and also saw some good things out of Timmy Manning, but you still feel like this is a team that is still trying to find its rotation. And if a guy like Giesting can come out and give you some good innings, or even if it ends up being kind of a bullpen game, you use a couple of different guys and maybe an opener, you put yourself in a good position here if you're the M's.
Certainly. It's really just all about seeing what you have and trying to find guys who perhaps they step up and they find a way to actually make an impression and work their way into a chance to have a start, because who's to say that this will be the case the rest of the season for Giesting? He may go back to the bullpen after this. It's just about seeing what he can do in this role and taking the next step from there.
Yep, absolutely. Although the pieces are finally starting to come together in terms of the players that are here. I believe the Harwich Mariners waiting on just one more guy, as this first pitch will miss inside to Justin Williams, and that guy is Jordan Beck, who may or may not actually come here after a season spent with, or correction, not Jordan Beck. Player that we're talking about is Drew Gilbert. Gilbert may or may not come down here after spending a summer with Team USA. Of course, Jordan Beck is here and playing out in right field. The 1-0 pitch on the way. That'll miss just high. Count goes here to 2-0. But if you're Harwich, you're basically looking at what's going to be here this season, and just a matter of where guys slot in. Certainly feel like that lineup starting to come together a little bit. We've seen guys like Kavanaugh, Levins, Wilkin, and the duo from Notre Dame as pretty much everyday guys. As Giesting just cannot seem to locate here. Misses another pitch, this time high and outside. And it's a 3-0 count here to Justin Williams with runners on first and second.
Yeah, you don't want to walk the bases loaded here with only one out. Not the greatest look in this at-bat from Giesting.
See if he can battle back here. Bat's probably going to stay on the shoulder with a 3-0 count. Pitches on the way, and that is in there for a late called strike, as that'll make the count 3-1 here on the Gateman third baseman. Of course, finally getting a chance to play some home and homes. The Harwich Mariners will have a day off tomorrow, but we'll be out in Wareham on Wednesday. Back to baseball, the rare Tuesday off day. As this misses upstairs, another walk issued here, and Giesting has walked the bases loaded. 2 walks plus a single from Diodati. And we'll see. Looks like for now it's still his game. Coach Englert looking at his lineup card over there in the dugout. And now he will step out, and it looks like this will be the end of the line here for Spencer Giesting. Eric Razelman coming on to make his Harwich Mariners debut. It's right around the corner. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Harwich Mariners here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tim, we talked about sometimes guys come into the Cape League, and when you're a reliever, you get thrown with your feet to the fire. It doesn't get much hotter than this as Eric Razelman comes in to make his CCBL debut, and he'll do it with the bases loaded. Owen Diodati on third, Yohandy Morales on second, Justin Williams on first, and Jack Brannigan, who is 0 for 1 with a strikeout at the plate. But the problem, just 1 out in the inning for the M's. So Going to be kind of a tough spot to start in here, but as a reliever, you know that these are the situations you're going to be prone to coming into, and we'll see how Razelman responds.
Yeah, we certainly will. It's actually rather similar to how we saw Eli Saul come into the game. There were runners on second and third, and I mean, of course, you want fewer runners on base, but if you're Razelman, you have to kind of be glad about the fact that the double play ball is there. So if you can get a ball hit well on a grounder into the infield, trust your guys' defense to be able to make a play, and you could get out of this inning. But overall on the day, to comment on Giesting, I liked what I saw from him. I mean, pitched 3 1/3, gave up 3 hits. We'll see how many earned runs he's ultimately charged with. But for a guy who's making his first start in the Cape Cod Baseball League, striking out 4 and having the success that he did through the first 2 innings, I thought that it was an excellent start from Giesting.
Yep, absolutely. And now we'll get a chance to see Eric Razelman for the first time today. The righty will be working out of the stretch from the University of NCAA transfer portal, as he has informed us he would like to be affiliated. And he will step off the rubber here once a moment to think about this first pitch. He'll be facing Jack Brannigan, the DH today, 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Again, the bases loaded. Still nobody across here for the Gatemen in their half of the 4th. First pitch. Fastball at 89. That'll just miss down and inside. Count starts at 1-0, and that'll get us an opportunity to tell you what Eric Razelman is working with. A 3-pitch guy, fastball, changeup, slider. The junior from San Ramon, California, again making his debut here in the CCBL. The 1-0 pitch misses outside. Count starts at 2-0, and that's another thing. You know, obviously, as a hitter, that the pitching is going to be tough. That goes both ways. And sometimes we see these guys entering the CCBL. They're awfully cautious with some of these hitters.
Especially when you come into the season a little bit later than the guys who are here to start, because as we've mentioned a few times, as that pitch finds a way into the zone for a strike, 2-1. We've mentioned a few times that usually to start the season off, it favors pitching because batters are getting used to the wooden bats. But now you're a week and a half, almost 2 weeks into a season, and you have now batters who are used to the wooden bats, and pitchers who are new have to find a way to get around it.
As this ball swung on and taken just on the foul side of that third base bag, and that could have been bad if it had found a way to skip off. We've seen all sorts of havoc come of that, but instead it's going to get the second strike into the possession of Razelman, and on a 2-2 count, he'll look for another strikeout. It would be the second of the day here for Jack Brannigan.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what he goes with on a strikeout pitch here, see what he's most comfortable with when it comes to trying to retire guys in a big spot. He's definitely going to look to his best pitch here.
And I think, from what I'm seeing here, I think Jack Brannigan may have splintered his bat on that last swing as he walks back to the Gateman dugout to pick another piece of wood out. Taking his time, though, as his teammates hand him a couple of different bats. He'll take one now and lather it up a bit before bringing it back to home plate. So it'll be 2 balls and 2 strikes here. Razelman, again, the only pitcher on the Harwich staff who did not have at least 1 appearance coming into today's game. And we had a chance to talk to him a little bit during the 2-hour lightning delay over at Bourne. And he said he had kind of just been waiting for his opportunity, but that had not presented itself yet. But today is the day for Eric Razelman, and what a spot to be thrown into. Bases loaded, 2-2 count. And Jack Brannigan at the dish, or Brannigan rather, the 2-2. Swung on and fouled away. Brannigan spoils it, tries to go to the fastball at 88 miles an hour for the strikeout.
And Razelman, a guy who's just really excited to be here, as of course always is the case with guys, but it was his older brother's friend who had played here when he was younger, and he had just seen him play and really wanted to be here since then.
2-2 fouled away as well. He keeps trying to go back to this fastball here for the strikeout. He keeps ramping it up a little. The last 3 fastballs from his hand, 87, 88, and that one coming in at 89. You wonder if he'll go back to it again here or try to mix something different in. Working from the windup now, 2-2. Swing and a miss. Got him. 76 miles an hour. He knocks off the pitch, pulls the string on Jack Brannigan, and the first man that Eric Razelman faces today, he picks up the strikeout of.
I mean, what a nice pitch sequence there. You talked about it, the escalating fastball that just kept rising in velocity, but goes back to 76 miles per hour to get Brannigan to go down swinging. Excellent decision made there between Razelman and the catcher today, McKeithen.
Yep, that'll bring up Angelo Despina. Batting from the left side. First pitch from Razelman is going to miss inside here for a ball. But This is really where we see guys, they can pick up a huge boost of early momentum, even the guys that come to the league a little bit late. You come in with the bases loaded. If you can find a way to get a couple of outs and not give up any runs, that is certainly going to be a great start here for Razelman. But he's got one more out left to get, delivers a fastball in there for a called strike, and evens the count on Despina at 1-1.
Be a huge turning point in this game if he can manage to leave Wareham with the bases loaded. Be a huge momentum boost for his team and try to slow down these gatemen.
1-1 pitch. This one just off the outside part of the plate. Count goes to 2-1. And this is kind of another thing Wareham has struggled with so far this season. We heard it from Jack Sadigan and Nick Magas, just leaving guys on base, leaving guys in scoring position. The Gatemen have left a lot to be desired with RBIs this year. 2-1. That'll miss inside. It's now a 3-1 count. And for a second batter in a row here, Tim, we're going to have to see Eric Razelman battle his way back.
Yeah, that pitch, 91, definitely not where he wanted to locate it, low and inside. We'll see what he goes with here.
Plenty of options here, but the batter going to be swinging away to Despina with a hitter's count. 3 balls and 1 strike the pitch. And it's a swing and a miss at a pitch that, I don't know, may have been a little inside there, but nonetheless, Razelman has battled his way back, and with a 3-2 count, the crowd getting behind him here at White House Field.
I mean, that's a nice job by Razelman to adjust from that last pitch and find a way to get Despina to swing at one up high.
Tried to retire Brannigan with a couple of fastballs, came back at him with an off speed. Let's see what he goes to. 3 balls, 2 strikes, payoff pitch. All the runners go in there. Strike 3 looking. Despina left that one down the pipe, and welcome to the Cape, Eric Razelman.
Filthy stuff there from Razelman, just blows it by him. That's confidence. That is so huge for him to be able to come in with the bases loaded and record 2 strikeouts.
Absolutely. So he'll have an opportunity to pitch with the bases empty. But before that, the Mariners looking for more runs. They lead at 1-0 here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Tim Foley, another inning of work coming up here for Eli Saul, and he will face the 8, 9, and 1 hitters here for the Mariners. Zach Preisner, Hal Hughes, and Tatum Levins. And Tim, the Mariners have done an excellent job. They've had the leadoff man aboard in every inning so far, but they lead it just 1-0, and a big part of that reason, 6 runners left on base through the first 3 innings of this game.
I mean, you have to be fortunate that you're getting enough in regards to pitching to keep you in this game, because if not, it'd be another question of how is this happening where the Mariners leave a ship full of men on base but are unable to drive any across.
First pitch in there for a called strike to Preisner, and similar to what we'll see Razelman do on the other side of the break here, Eli Saul getting an opportunity to pitch in a, let's call it a lower pressure situation here with the bases empty. His 0-1 pitch misses low, count even at 1 apiece here on the product from Notre Dame.
No, and he certainly did a good job his last time up to get these guys out of the inning for Wareham.
1-1 pitch, swung on and chopped up the middle. This one will not get through. Coming across as Morales fires to first, a bit high but in time. And Zach Preisner grounds out for the second time today right at the shortstop. That'll bring up Hal Hughes. Hughes was plunked by a pitch back in the 4th inning, or correction, back in the 2nd inning of play. That was all the further he was able to make it as Chris Newell stayed on second base right where he was. Tatum Levins standing on deck. trying to get to him with a runner on base. As swinging at the first pitch he sees in the dirt is Hal Hughes. Count starts at 0-1.
Yeah, trying to be aggressive with it. Thought he saw something he liked, but nice movement from Saul to get him off balance.
Of course, the book does close on both of the starting pitchers here in this one as we enter the 4th inning. We'll get numbers here in just a moment as Hughes leaves a pitch down in the dirt. That'll even the count at 1-1. For Christian Rubick, his day ends with 2 1/3 innings pitched. He gives up 1 run. It was earned on 4 hits, walks 2, hits 1, and strikes out 1. As this one will miss inside. Count goes to 2-1 here on Hughes. For Spencer Giesting, 3 1/3, gives up no runs on 3 hits, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. And for the 0 in the runs given up column, he has 1 Eric Razelman to thank as he comes in and collects the 2 outs with the bases loaded. This pitch is going to be called a ball here off the outside part. Count goes to 3-1, and beautiful spot here for Hal Hughes to be hitting it. Hughes, another one of those guys. The Mariners don't know how much longer they might have his services as he swings at this pitch and fouls it back towards the Mariners' dugout. That'll fill the count 3-2.
No, I mean, he's another guy who the Mariners are expecting to perhaps lose to the draft. And so it'll be interesting to see where he goes and how the Mariners fill that spot.
Payoff pitch, that'll miss, and Hughes for the 2nd time today reaches, does not have a hit, but a perfect on-base percentage on the afternoon, and that'll bring up leadoff hitter Tatum Levens. And of course, going back to Hal Hughes for just a moment, one of the few guys left on this team that is draft eligible, that is likely to be drafted, that, again, Harwich really doesn't know how much longer they'll have his services. Still around hanging out with the team here is Corey Acton, but of course got the official notification from the waiver wire yesterday that he has been released. And the departure, as you mentioned before, of Nick Sinicola, Evan Shaver, and Pat Winkle. As this first pitch misses low and away, count starts at 1-0 on Levens.
Yeah, the departures just keep coming in for the Mariners, but there is still a good core of guys that they'll be able to keep together and try to make a run through this season.
Absolutely. The 1-0 pitch, check swing. I believe he went across, and they will signal down. They say he didn't. How about that? I was convinced that he broke his wrist a little bit on that, but that is not the call from the umpire standing at second base. And it's going to be a 2-0 count here on Tatum Levens. See if he can use this to his advantage. From the stretch here, Eli Saul will take a moment to think about this next pitch. Calls for time, steps off the bump.
Yeah, definitely a lucky break for Harwich, and now you're in a spot in a 2-0 count. Big advantage here, runner standing on first, and again, Harwich trying to get something going with few outs.
2-0, that'll miss down and in, and it's a 3-0 count here on Tatum Levens. So far today, 1 for 2, single and a ground out. This is the first inning so far in this one. The Mariners have not had the leadoff man aboard. Here comes that 3-0 pitch. That'll miss well high. And tossing his bat, taking his bag here is Tatum Levens. Runners on first and second, 1 away for the 1 for 2 Press Kavanaugh.
Well, it was a good look from Saul to end that 3rd inning as he was able to help record those last 2 outs. But so far here, after getting Preisner to ground out, he's delivered 2 walks. I mean, right now, Saul, 22 pitches, 10 strikes, 12 balls from the righty.
And just as we say that, there is now action up and working out there in the Wareham Gateman lineup, and just as we say that, a little bit of a conference on the mound here, as it looks like Don Sneddon wants to come out and at the very least have a word with his guy. Wouldn't expect him to pull Eli Saul, but again, if he is recovering from an injury, and again, we're not saying that he still is 100%, we're not sure for sure what the situation is, but he may be on a bit of a short leash here, maybe even a pitch count.
Yeah, potentially. You know, it's again, just getting guys warmed up because for some of these guys, they haven't pitched in a while. And I believe Saul, as we mentioned it, someone who has not had any stats so far in this Cape League season. So not sure when his last outing was exactly. Back in March, actually. He was, yes, correction. We talked about that last inning, pardon me. And so it's about seeing where he's at mentally. How's he feel after an inning of work so far?
Well, where's he at physically as well? Maybe the bigger point of concern. But a runner in scoring position here for the Harwich Mariners for the 4th consecutive inning. And it's a good thing that the lights are on. A beautiful sky off in the distance just above the tree line here at White House Field as conditions begin to cool. About 71 degrees at first pitch. That'll dip down into the mid to low 60s by the time we wrap this one up. Press Kavanaugh at the plate. First pitch that he sees is in there for a called strike. That one at 79.
Yeah, take that first pitch strike. Kavanaugh, it's felt like he's been that kind of guy, not overly aggressive. He'll wait on his pitch, and that's a lot of mentality that these Mariners have preached all season long from this coaching staff.
Press Kavanaugh, of course, had his biggest game as a Harwich Mariner right here at White House Field about 2-3 days ago against the Catuit Kettleers, as he was able to work a 3-for-4 day, 3 RBIs, and a double. Sure, he'd love nothing more than to try to pad the RBI stats just a bit here. Standing in from the left side, facing off against Eli Saul, whose 1-1 delivery will miss inside. And the count goes to 2-1.
Yeah, now what you want to do from Saul, you're, again, falling behind in a count here with already 2 guys who you've already walked on base.
And the heart of the order looming on deck. Brock Wilkin due up next, followed by Jordan Beck and Carter Putz. Here's about a quarter of a check swing, certainly not enough to offer, and that'll make it 3-1. So far, I believe every single batter Eli Saul has faced this inning, he's fallen behind at one point or another, and he is behind Press Kavanaugh, 3-1. Hitters count, Kavanaugh ready for the pitch, that'll miss down and in, and it's another walk here as all 3 runners aboard have reached via a walk. The bases are now loaded, and I can't imagine Don Snedden would let this go on for much longer. As with 1 away, Brock Wilkin will stride to the plate. We'll see if Eli Saul is granted the opportunity to pitch to him at all. As you see right now, Snedden kind of nervously pacing back and forth in front of his own dugout. And now there is somebody up and walking out, and it looks like this might be the end of the line here. More than likely it will be for Eli Saul. So we will wait to see here whether or not someone starts jogging in from the pen. But again, I can't imagine another pitching or another meeting at the mound here without a change in who's hurling here for the gateman. Yeah,
we'll have to see. Still looking for somebody to come charging out of that bullpen. We might not see it. It's a tough spot for Saul to be in right here after having walked the first 3 guys. And then, as mentioned, you have the heart of the order coming up here for the Mariners, and that will be the day for Saul.
Yep, so we will step away. When we come back, we'll get you an update on the new pitcher into the game here for the Wareham Gatemen. Harwich leads at 1-0, bases loaded, 1 away here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. New pitcher coming into the game here is Ethan Chanault, who has had a really good outing, or I should say just a really good season so far here in the CCBL. He's made 3 appearances. He's pitched in 2 2/3 innings. And how about this? He has given up just 1 hit, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, no runs so far. This is the guy that Wareham brings in to put the fires out, and he's got a little bit of a mess on his hands here, Tim.
Yeah, a familiar situation for Wareham in this game with a couple of runners in scoring position, and you bring in a reliever to try and get out of the inning. And it was the same for Eli Saul. Came in with runners on second and third, had to record 2 outs. He was able to do so. And so this is the guy who, as mentioned, he's been gone to time and time again for Wareham at this point in the season, and he's proven reliable. We'll see how he fares here against one of the better sluggers for the Mariners in Wilkin.
Absolutely. So Brock Wilkin will stride to the plate right now. He's been in this position a couple of times this season. Against the Chatham Anglers, he put one over the left field fence. He'll face off against Ethan Chanault as we are looking at this situation here for the M's. Hal Hughes stands on third, Tatum Levens on second, Prez Kavanaugh on first. All of them put there by Eli Saul on walks. First pitch misses up. Count starts off at 1-0 here, and obviously nowhere for Chanault to put him.
Yeah, you don't want to exactly pitch to Wilkin here, but like you said, nowhere to put him. You're going to have to challenge Wilkin to some extent if you want to try and get out of this with no runs.
Both teams have had a couple of situations like this. As this one gets in for a called strike, count even at 1-1, but so far no one has been able to break it open here. As Wareham left the bases loaded back in their half of the fourth. The Harwich Mariners, of course, left 2 in scoring position back in the third. And now the M's have them loaded with 1 away here in inning number 4. The 1-1. That one will miss low and away. Count goes to 2-1 here on Wilkin, who we talked about some of his aggressiveness early, but now in a big spot in the game. Starting to dial it back a little bit. A little more patient at the plate.
And like we've said time and time again, that's this Harwich style. They are going to have to, they're going to make you challenge these batters, and they are tough batters to challenge.
The 2-1. That'll miss low. It's a 3-1 count, and man, you know Brock Wilkin is chomping at the bit for this next pitch.
He wants to take the bat off the shoulder, I'm telling you that much, and he's definitely going to have a good look at this one.
He's going to have a swing away sign here, no doubt about it. This pitch has to be in the zone or a run comes home. Chanault kicks and deals. Big swing and a miss there. Wilkin trying to park that one over the, I wouldn't even say over the tree line. Looked like he was trying to put that one over the light pole out in left field, and instead it'll be a 3-2 count here.
It's quite the cut, and now a full count. You need to be able to square something off if you don't like where it's going.
Chanault has an opportunity to bounce back. A strikeout here would be huge. Here comes the payoff pitch. And that will miss. Ball 4, and a run comes across on a walk. That is now 4 consecutive walks here in the inning between the two pitchers. Hal Hughes comes across, and it's a 2-0 Harwich Mariner lead.
It's a parade around the base paths right now, a very slow parade, as Harwich has just been excellent in waiting on pitches, waiting in counts, and letting Wareham kind of be their own enemy here in this inning.
And if you're looking for an opportunity for a breakout, here comes Jordan Beck, who would certainly benefit from a little bit of positive momentum here. First pitch he sees is down in the dirt, stop there by Frechette. And that's a big stop because anything that gets back to the backstop here is going to score a run. Tatum Levens with some okay speed. Nothing incredible, but solid over there on third. Prez Kavanaugh moved up to second. Wilkin takes his base at first. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. That'll miss up and in. Count goes to 2-0, and you can see Chanault wants to get aggressive, but right now really almost concerned to put something too nice in the zone and have a risk of it getting taken into the gap.
Yeah, I mean, he's facing a tough part of the order to come in and have to pitch against, and Wilkin, Beck, and Putz already having walked Wilkin.
Right now, it's Jordan Beck standing at the plate. This pitch gets across for a called strike. Count goes here to 2-1. So far in 2021, mentioned just a recent arrival here in Jordan Beck. He's got the 2 hits. Still looking for his first RBI in the CCBL. He'll stand in at the ready. Once again, coming set is Chanault. 2-1. And this one swung on and taken near the left side. It's going to be misplayed there at short and no chance to get anybody. Keep the line moving. Everyone up a station as Morales tried to make the backhanded catch. And that is more than likely going to be ruled a hit.
Yeah, you take that if you're Harwich. A pretty well hit ball. Had some good speed over to the shortstop in Morales. Tough for him to field that and make a play. And then by the time he does get a handle on it, takes a look around and says, well, I don't have a whole lot of options right now. Nice chance for the Mariners to keep pushing the lead now with everybody being safe on that one.
And just to affirm, that is in fact a hit. And more importantly for the Mariners, the situation does not change. Bases still loaded, still one out of the inning for Carter Putz. Putz will watch this one just outside, and he's really been seeing the ball well ever since he entered. There really wasn't kind of that settle in here, figure out what's going on, adjust to the pitching for Putz. He really started swinging a good bat from the time he came in.
He certainly has. I mean, I can't ever forget that 3-for-3 outing he had to start his season against Falmouth.
A couple of RBIs mixed in there as well. Opportunity to do the same here for Harwich, the 1-0. That'll miss down and out. Count goes to 2-0, and I feel like we've seen a 2-0 count on every batter so far that Ethan Chanault has faced.
We really have. Chanault doesn't look too comfortable up there. Again, we've mentioned this is a tough part of the order, but you have to understand the bases are loaded here. You have to go at guys, and Chanault just not willing to do so right now.
And, of course, this pitch more than likely going to come back in the zone, and that is exactly the case. It's a little bit of a slow roller picked up over at third by Williams, who throws to first in time to get Carter Putz, but he does his job. Another run comes across for the Mariners in the form of Kavanaugh, and the M's on top now 4-0.
Yeah, nice job by Putz. That's all you got to do. Just get a ball hit on the ground. And it was slow enough down that third base side that the third baseman Williams didn't have a whole lot in regards to an opportunity to throw it over to second and record a double play. So nice placement on the hit. It would help drive in a run and keep the inning alive. Still 2 in scoring position.
That'll bring up Chris Newell, who picked up his first CCBL hit back in the second inning of this one. Still looking for his first CCBL RBI. Prime opportunity to do that. First pitch misses well outside. Stopped by Frechette. As Jordan Beck is the man standing on second here for the M's. Brock Wilkin over there at third. Already 3 across here in the inning for Harwich. But again, the only force out is at first base right now, and 2 more in scoring position, the 1-0. Leaving it upstairs here is Chris Newell, and where have we seen this movie here before, Tim? 2 balls, no strikes, the count.
Yeah, Harwich, they have really just are seeing it so well, and it's kind of easy with Chanault just leaving a lot, either well outside, well high. Not a whole lot looking good.
Big swing and a miss here on the 2-0, but he's done a good job so far of battling back as he gets a 2-1 count on Chris Newell.
Yeah, 89 to blow it by Newell, and Newell was looking to clean that one well out of the infield. Nice pitch by Chanault just then to get the strike.
Chris, of course, is the Newell arrival to the Harwich Mariners. The 2-1 swung on and fouled back to the screen, and that'll even the count here at 2-2. The Virginia Cavalier from Newton Square, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Tyler? I don't think I don't know how I feel about that one.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tim. Runners on second and third. Again, still 2 away here in the inning. Newell at the plate. And a big opportunity for more insurance runs here for the M's. I'm sure they'd love to see that. 2-2. And that is going to be, again, a delayed strike 3 call, but Chris Newell down on strikes, and that will end the 4th, but not before the Mariners make it a 4-run lead. They lead at 4-0 here on the Wareham Gateman as we head to inning number 5. You're watching here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Welcome back to White House Field. Tyler Henry alongside Tim Foley as we get set for the 5th inning of play. And want to remind you listening at home, Mariners fans, for sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game. Well, the Harwich Mariners working now with a 4-run lead, something they have not really had to work with so far this season, Tim. It's got to feel good for the team to have the lead going into this portion of the game. It seems like at this point, Harwich is usually up or down by quite a bit. This one's still competitive, but again, being on the upper hand here has to feel good here for the Umps.
No, certainly, and you look at Eric Razelman, someone who hasn't exactly been familiar with how Harwich has failed to give some run support to their pitchers, but it's got to feel nice for him to be ahead here 4-0. With a chance to have a shutdown inning and keep the gateman off the scoreboard.
Also has to feel good for Razelman to be pitching with nobody on the base pass as he came in with the bases loaded back in the 4th, was able to work 2 strikeouts of Jack Brannigan and Angelo Despina. Now faces the 9-hole hitter Anthony Frechette. The 1-0 pitch. This one gets across for a strike. And Razelman at 88 with the fastball has a 1-1 count here on the 9-hole hitter for Wareham. It'll be Cade Fergus and Tommy Troy due up next as this ball chopped weakly to second. Hughes picks it up, throws to first in time, 1 away. So back to the top of the book we go. Cade Fergus, as I mentioned, due up next, then Tommy Troy. Fergus so far today is 1 for 2, a walk and a strikeout. And the book does close on Eli Saul. He completes 1 inning of work, gives up, how about this, 3 runs, all of them earned on no hits. But of course, the 3 walks to no strikeouts, big part of the reason for that. Razelman brings home a pitch, ducking out of the way here is Cade Fergus, and the count starts at 1-0.
Yeah, tough to take those pitches well inside, and sometimes you see with batters, creeps into their head a bit when a pitch comes that close.
Razelman brings home the 1-0. This one will also miss just inside, it appears, as they do appeal down to third base. Not sure that was particularly close, and the count starts at 2-0.
No, Fergus did a pretty good job holding up on his check there. If McKeithen, you're just doing your due diligence, your job as a catcher.
Doesn't hurt to try. Big swing and a miss here. As Cade Fergus tries to go deep, comes up empty. Count goes to 2-1. And we'll see if Razelman can battle his way back here. He fell behind a couple of hitters, but did a good job of fighting his way back into counts. See, he'll have to do that here. 2 balls, 1 strike, the pitch. Another swing and a miss here. He's got him trying to bite at the fastball. And actually, I believe that may have even been a slider at 86. But either way, he has a 2-2 count here on the Gateman leadoff hitter. Fergus going to have to get protective here. He's taken big swings and misses the last couple of pitches. Here comes the offering from Razelman. That'll miss outside, and it's a full count here to Fergus. Three balls, 2 strikes, 1 away here in the inning. Fergus at the plate. Here comes the payoff pitch. And that is late strike 3 call. Again, we keep saying late. I don't think it's late. I think that's just the punch-out call from the home plate umpire. It just throws us off a little. But nonetheless, strikeout number 3 here for Razelman. And 2 of those 3 looking.
Yeah, he's looked really excellent so far, and I think even for Fergus, it was a little late in his mind because he took a happy little trot down towards first, and then a moment later hesitates and then heads towards the dugout. So he certainly thought that the call was late from the umpire. Nonetheless, it got him.
And you can tell that he's saying something verbally on these punch-out calls as Razelman misses his first pitch again because the batter turns around before we see the arms go up. But obviously not something that you or I can hear from up here. We kind of just have to wait on the visual cue. Either way, 1-0 the count right now on Tommy Troy as Razelman looking really sharp here in his debut. And I believe we had some issue either with the fence or maybe with some trash out in center field as jogging back out to his spot is Chris Newell. Same group of hooligans beyond the center field fence that knocked off the barrier a couple of weeks ago. Swing and a miss here, count even at 1-1. Really, that is the only part of the park where you can't pitch a 10 and watch the game as straightaway center covered up. A couple of banners down the left and right field fence, but you'll still see people standing there as a swing and a miss will make it a 1-2 count. And then, as you've astutely mentioned a couple of times, Tim, you've got the grassy hills, left field and right field, and then the grandstands, if you want to call them that, closer to home plate. The 1-2. This is up and out.
And I think that outfield really an underutilized part of this ballpark. You know, you head out there, of course, a bit of a tough view for the scoreboard if you're in right, but I think that's part of why they put some bleachers out there this year that weren't there in years past. Mariners want some more fans around the whole park.
2-2 swung on and fouled away here by Tommy Troy. And you do see that at most of the other ballparks. It's pretty accommodating. If you want to watch a game from the outfield, you can. But I think here at White House, this really is, one of the most accommodating parks to fans across the entire CCBL. Here comes Razelman with a 2-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. Eric Razelman in his Cape League debut with 4 strikeouts, and that will retire the side here in the 5th. To the home half we go. Harwich leading at 4-0 up to bat when we come back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Tim Foley. Another inning of work coming up here for Ethan Chanault for the Harwich Mariners. It'll be the 7, 8, and 9 hitters due up. Aaron McKeithen, Zach Preisner, and Hal Hughes. But while we wait on that, let's get you a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We already have one game that has gone final. The YD Red Sox pick up another win over the Falmouth Commodores for a final score of 5-4. That's big for a couple of reasons. In the East, it gives YD an even bigger lead, as that is their 6th victory of the season. They'll hang on to that first-place spot in the Eastern Division, but also big as this is a Wareham team wrestling with Falmouth. If they can find a way to come back and get the victory here, they would take sole possession of 2nd place out in the West behind Bourne, who, by the way, as crazy as this sounds, the first pitch is swung on and taken into left field. That'll get down in front of Diodati. It's a leadoff single here for Aaron McKeithen in the M setup shop with nobody out. That'll bring up Zach Preisner. But back to that point, the Bourne Braves might lose a baseball game. They're down 2-0 right now. The Katuitt Kettleers in the top of the 9th. Something that has not happened so far in 2021.
No, and we've been joking about it all season long. Oh, it's never going to happen. No, it's going to happen at some point. And Katuitt, they've been swinging the bat well all season long, and wouldn't be surprised if tonight is the night going into the bottom of the 9th.
So we'll keep you updated on what's going on out west. But right here, it is the 8-hole hitter, Zach Preisner, who takes ball 1 here from Ethan Chanault. A couple other games going on around the CCBL. The Chatham Anglers up 4-0 on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. And through 5, a scoreless game in Orleans between the Brewster Whitecaps and the Orleans Firebirds.
And just to talk again about YD, we like to almost just kind of admire the fact that they've tied 4 times this season, but those are 4 tight games. And you look at it, they've only lost 3 times so far this season.
As this ball's chopped foul down the third base side. Yeah, it's kind of a big point, too. Even though you get a tie, a point's better than nothing. So they have found a way to build a lead up in first place. They're actually ahead of Orleans, who has 1 more win, but 3 fewer ties. So all that matters at the end of the day is what's in that point total. And for YD right now, that number good enough for first place. They'll extend by 2 more with the win today over the Falmouth Commodores. Here comes the 3-1 pitch, or rather the 2-1 pitch. That'll be in there for a called strike. Count even at 2-2 here on Zach Preisner, who has hit the ball hard twice today, but both times right at the shortstop.
Yeah, it's been the story for him. He's making some good contact, but just grounders over short and being thrown out each time by Morales.
2-2 on the way, and that is in there for strike 3. So another K added on to the total here of Ethan Chanault, who did allow a couple of runs to come across, but both of them, or rather all 3 of them, were charged to Eli Saul. That's how Hughes comes to the plate here, and he was one of those guys that's just found his way on. He was hit by a pitch in the 2nd, reached on a walk in the 4th, and he'll come up for a 3rd time here in inning number 5.
Yeah, and that's so valuable. You know, it makes no difference, truly, whether or not you get on with a single or a base hit. As long as you're on first, the run counts all the same.
This pitch fouled away. I mean, to your point there, Tim, you're talking about a Harwich Mariners team that struck for 3 runs on 1 hit and still stranded 2 runners. I mean, they only had 1 hit in the entire 4th inning.
You'll take that.
Yep. 5,
quality at bats.
Absolutely. 5 base runners, 4 walks, and the RBI singles. This one is fouled away by Hughes, tracking it back, but running out of real estate. Up at the fence is Despina. So an 0-2 count here on Hughes, who's going to have to be a little bit more patient here.
Yeah, something these Mariners bats unfamiliar with, at least for the past few innings, being down in a count like this. We saw a lot of 3-0 from Chanault last inning, as well as Saul.
Couple of guys struggling with commands. This ball in the dirt, runner goes. Going to be a good chance to get him down at 2nd. Throws on a line, but it gets past the glove of Troy. Absolutely smoked at 2nd was Aaron McKeithen, but it didn't matter as that one gets past the outstretched glove of the 2nd baseman. And the Mariners catch a bit of a break here to put a runner in scoring position.
Yeah, I mean, full marks to McKeithen for making it down to 2nd base, but that was not the fastest move to the bag that I have seen in my time. As certainly enough time being made up by the catcher Frechette and missing the ball, but McKeithen bailed out by the miss.
1-2 in the dirt. They will have to throw down to first to check it as Hal Hughes gets caught swinging at one. I think that bounced almost on home plate. That'll bring up Tatum Levens. To your point, and to be fair, really quickly, Aaron McKeithen is a catcher. I think he was expecting that ball to get a little further away from Frechette, but it ended up in a good spot. Frechette probably should have had him down there at 2nd, but the Mariners very happy he didn't. It's because that ball ends up in center field in front of Fergus. The inning continues, and another at-bat given here to Tatum Levens, who reached on a walk back in the 4th inning. Runner in scoring position again here for the M's. They've had a runner in scoring position in every inning so far. They have only scored a run in 2 of those as this gets off the chest plate of Frechette. Good stop there. Count starts at 1-0.
Yeah, seeing some control issues now. I believe it's the last 3 pitches that have all taken a bounce and made it difficult for the catcher Frechette behind the plate to keep a hold on it.
Yep, but a good job again of just keeping it in front of him. That has to be the key for the catcher. 1-0 the count here. Chanault working out of the stretch, kicks and deals. This one will miss upstairs. Count goes to 2-0. And yep, Harwich being even more patient. You saw Hal Hughes getting pretty aggressive. Aside from that, everybody so far has kind of been content to wait to see a strike before swinging away freely. See what Tatum Levens' approach is here on a 2-0 count. The pitch. That'll get in there for a strike. He watches one. Now he's seen it. And the count at 2-1. We'll see if he swings away here on this next pitch. Chanault has looked awfully comfortable for the most part, given the situation that he was in back in the 4th. Command has been a bit of an issue, but so far it has not come back to bite him. Here comes the 2-1. That's going to be swung on by Levens, fouled away, and the count even at 2-2. You also wonder, Tim, who we might see come out of the bullpen if this stays about a 4-run ball game. You wonder how long, of course, Eric Razelman might be able to go. But after that, who is the guy that the M's go to at the back end of their bullpen after the departure of Aaron Holiday as a 2-2 pitch is fouled away?
No, and this is the other part of it. I mean, as much as we're looking at who's going to be able to slot in for this starting rotation for the Mariners, who's going to be able to slot in the back end as well.
Had a kind of an idea of the guys that we thought might be that guy coming into the season. Brandon Walker was one of them, but of course he's had A couple of struggles here early on. One of the other ones in Wilkinson has looked really good as this ball gets past the catcher back to the screen, and that will allow Aaron McKeithen to move up to third. Also makes it a 3-2 count here on Tatum Levens.
Yeah, I mean, almost just a matter of time. There was a lot of we've seen a lot of control issues from Chanault in this inning, and one finally getting away from Frechette and allowing McKeithen to advance over to third. So some handy base running by McKeithen so far this inning.
And Frechette, I think he popped up expecting it to bounce off the plate and catch him in the chest, but instead it hits the dirt behind home plate and just skids back to the backstop. Here comes the payoff pitch. That one's going to be swung on and taken up the right side. A slow roller picked up by Williams. Throw to first is in time, and that will retire the side. So Harwich gets a runner up to third, but fails to score. They still lead it 4-0. To the 6th inning we go. Mariners on top, 4-0 here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Tim Foley. Well, Tim, we mentioned that the Bourne Braves might be about to lose a baseball game, but now they've got runners at the corners, although a throw to second will end it. And finally, the Bourne Braves' reign of terror on the rest of the league has come to an end, as this first pitch will miss here. Another inning of work coming up here for Eric Razelman.
Yeah, it happens. You know, you go on this hot streak to start the season, and finally someone's able to get one on you.
Here's a, whoa, kind of a half-hearted check swing almost, but then trying to fight it away from his hands is Cade Kern, who leads off the 6th here for the Gatemen. It'll be Kern, Diodati, and Morales. The 3 due up here for Wareham as time begins to expire, but the second game of the CCBL slate goes final, and another ball fouled away will give a 1-2 count here to Razelman, who's already got 4 strikeouts. He has looked awfully good here in his Cape League debut.
He absolutely has. I mean, all of his stuff's been working. We haven't seen Wareham look entirely comfortable at the plate. 4 strikeouts and 5 batters faced.
See if Razelman can pick up another. Here comes the 1-2, and that will miss down and out. Evens the count at 2-2.
That one's steaming in there at 89 miles per hour.
He's reached back for a little something extra. It seemed like in warm-ups he was a little bit lower. We saw one come in at 92. I don't know if that was completely accurate or not, though we do trust our gun, as the 2-2 misses just a bit low here. So a full count to Cade Kern, who is 0 for 2, similar to Zach Preisner, a pair of ground outs to the shortstop in this one. Here comes the payoff pitch. Swinging a ball tipped foul, barely hanging on there is Cade Kern. This is the first time that he has faced Razelman. That'll be the case for the next 4 guys due up in the lineup. Another 3-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Got him with the high fastball. Strikeout number 5 for Eric Razelman. And now he'll face Owen Diodati. He gets one of the 2 top hitters in this Wareham lineup. Now he'll face the other in a guy in Diodati who has swung at the first pitch he's seen twice. He's connected twice, and he has 1 for 2, a single and a fly out, both to center field.
Yeah, this is going to be a really fun matchup to watch. A guy who's been having a lot of success at the plate for Wareham versus a guy who's having success in his first debut for the Mariners.
First pitch in there for a called strike. Changeup coming in at 76. And right now, advantage Razelman. Wareham's still not on the board yet. Diodati, the kind of guy that can change that with one swing of the bat. Here comes the 0-1. This one swung on and chopped back towards the Gateman bullpen. Count goes to 0-2. And now the question is, you're Razelman, you're feeling it right now. You've had your strikeout pitch working. Do you go right at him, or do you waste a pitch on an 0-2 here? We'll see what Razelman decides. He continues to work right now very comfortably. From the windup, the 0-2, a little bit of a delayed hitch that time. It's going to be taken, here's a shocker, into center field. Third time today, and this battle won by Owen Diodati, his second single of the day, allows the Wareham Gateman to set up shop with 1 out here in the 6th.
Yeah, lands in that exact same spot out in center, too. And so, I mean, I personally like the decision there from Razelman to go after a guy. Like you said, he's feeling it. I mean, he's struck out 5 batters of the 6 that he's faced so far. And so to go after a guy like Diodati, Diodati's good enough, though. He's able to pick up that pitch, adjust to it, and send it into the outfield.
Now he'll face off against a guy who is yet to be retired this afternoon, or rather this evening. First pitch misses outside in Yohandy Morales. And now I would say, you know, we'll see what we can see here out of Razelman with a runner on base working out of the stretch, but he came in with the bases loaded and was able to get a couple of strikeouts. His 1-0 pitch will miss low and outside here. Count goes to 2-0. So nothing he hasn't seen yet. Still 1 away in the inning, and the middle infielders right now at double play depth. Opportunity to potentially turn 2 here for Eric Razelman. The righty, formerly out of USF, sets and brings home the pitch. That'll be in their first strike. Want to clarify, formerly out of the University of San Francisco, not the University of South Florida. But of course, right now, a dedicated member of the NCAA transfer portal. 2 balls and 1 strike. The count right now on Morales. A single and a walk so far. Runner on first here for the Gateman. And this one misses down and away. Count will go 3-1 as Razelman falls behind. Justin Williams due up next. Reached on a walk back in that critical 4th inning. 3-1. Swing and a miss. Pitch high and outside. But that 3-1 count enticing to Morales, and he takes a big hack at a pitch he had no business swinging at.
Yeah, Razelman just finding ways to get these guys to chase after pitches either high, down low, wherever around the strike zone. He's locating it where he wants, and he's getting guys to bite at exactly what he's trying to throw.
Payoff pitch. That'll miss upstairs, and that is the first walk of the day issued by Razelman. That'll put 2 aboard here for the aforementioned Justin Williams. Again, it's not like command has been an issue for Eric Razelman. He finished his 2021 season with a 2-1 record, a 4.7 ERA, 17 strikeouts compared to only 6 walks, and a total of 15 1/3 innings pitched at San Francisco. Now he will face off against Justin Williams. Again, runners on first and second here. Williams digs in from the right side. First pitch. This is down and out. Attempted a back pick, not in time. Not a bad move there by Aaron McKeithen. Trying to keep the runner honest at first.
No, right idea there.
So again, a runner in scoring position here for Wareham. They've had this situation twice before today. Have not been able to bring anybody across to score. They still trail it 4-0. The 1-0. Big swing and a miss again. Something about Razelman's pitches, we're seeing guys really amp up the intensity on these swings.
Yeah, I don't know what he was expecting there, but that pitch ended up just dropping down at 71. Ended up below the knees, but the swing that came from Williams was high in the zone.
Yeah, incredible movement on that last pitch. Razelman continues to look good with the off speed. So a 1-1 count right now to Williams. Looks the runner back to second, brings home the pitch, gets this one fouled away, and that's been something he's done a good job of too. Even when he doesn't get clean strikes, he gets guys to foul pitches off to put him up in the count. Now he'll try to go after yet another batter, looking for strikeout number 6. For Eric Razelman, 2 strikeouts in the 4th, 2 strikeouts in the 5th, 1 strikeout so far here in inning number 6. Williams is going to have to get defensive here with a 1-2 count. Here comes the pitch. That's swung on and lifted into center field. Chasing it back there is Newell. That'll be over his head, and it's going to roll all the way to the fence. This is going to score at least 1 run. Rather, it will score 2 runs as both runners bunched up that time. Not sure if that was a miscommunication on the base pass. It looked like one of the runners held up. The other came around a bit faster, and because of that, when I looked up, I only saw 1 guy, but as they turned and headed for home, it was 2 guys. Both Owen Diodati and Yohandy Morales will score on a 2 RBI double for Justin Williams, and the lead has been cut in half here. Mariners now up 4-2.
Yeah, it was a full head of steam from Morales. It was interesting to see the 2 of them right behind one another, charging around the bases. I mean, regardless, that was a ball that was going to drive those 2 runners across, regardless of how far apart the runners were exactly from one another. You get over the center fielder like that, you're going to leave a lot of time for a guy on first to be able to go around all the bases. So a nice piece of hitting there from Williams. But now for Razelman, how are you going to come back and make an adjustment here?
Yep, and now the Mariners in a bit of a precarious position as the tying run is at the plate, represented by Jack Brannigan. Brannigan was the first guy that faced Razelman back in that 4th inning. He struck out swinging, and then the man standing on deck in Angelo Despina struck out looking to end the 4th inning with the bases loaded. Here's a ball swung on, and getting way under it is Brannigan. A couple of guys converge, ultimately settling under it to make the catch as Kavanaugh, 2 away.
And if you're Harwich, this is a moment where you recognize, okay, you've given up 2 runs. You're going to try and, of course, prevent more from coming across in the inning, but you're glad you finally have the run support to be able to back up your guy on the mound should he slip and give up a 2 spot.
And how about this? Right now, we see Carson Seymour up and warming out in that Harwich bullpen. So another guy that the Mariners want to get as much use out of as they can before his number gets called come draft day. Despina at the plate, fresh count to work with, runner on second. This pitch is in there for a strike, and the count starts off at 0-1 here. And that quick out to Brannigan, such a confidence booster here, Tim, for a pitcher after you give up a big hit like that to come back and get a quick out, and now you just have to get 1 more to get out of the inning. Here comes the 0-1. Big swing and a miss, and now he's out ahead of Despina, 0-2.
Yeah, you can tell he's still feeling confident up on the mound. Those last 2 pitches certainly show you how, and I'm sure in part due to that quick out, as you mentioned, Tyler, to make it just a 2-out situation now.
So 0-2. We'll see if he goes right at Despina like he did at Diodati. Looks the runner back to second, brings home the pitch. That'll miss upstairs. Count goes to 1-0. 1-2, correction. Still well ahead in the count here is Razelman. Runner in scoring position, tying run at the plate. Razelman with an extended look in here for the sign. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. He got him. 6 Ks on the day here for Eric Razelman. And 2 runs come across, but no more damage done here for the Wareham Gatemen. We go to the home half of inning number 6. M's on top 4-2 here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry alongside a very energized Tim Foley here. A little Johnny B. Good on a Monday evening.
Always feeling Johnny B. Good on a Monday evening.
Absolutely.
Especially one as beautiful as this one.
It is certainly a fantastic night for baseball, although after what we've been through, I'm sure you and I are just happy for a dry night here in the CCPL.
Yeah, it was a tough weekend really across the league. Had a rain out, had a couple of moments where equipment was in jeopardy in regards to equipment being damaged with rain. Of course, thinking back to last week as well, last Wednesday with the rain delay in Bourne. We had to call our broadcast off largely because of technical issues, of course, but weather as well becoming a factor late into the game. So glad to have a beautiful evening here where we can play some excellent baseball.
Absolutely, and now we've got the home plate umpire walking out. He was motioning to something out in the outfield. I don't know what exactly it was, but whatever it is, it seems to have taken care of itself as he'll walk back to home plate. It'll be Prez Kavanaugh, Brock Wilkin, and Jordan Beck to lead things off here for the Mariners. And you mentioned, actually, I believe we just got confirmation on what that was. The second baseman, Troy, has had, I don't know if they're Oakleys, I don't know what brand they are, but he's got the big visor, and it was reflecting, and I actually saw it, but I didn't think it was going to be an issue. It was reflecting off of the lights, so he was asked to take those off of the top of his head. Of course, no use for sunglasses at this hour.
Well, you want to look cool, Tyler.
Of course, look good, play good. That is the famous baseball player quote. This pitch will miss upstairs. Of course, in the case of Tommy Troy, he is 0 for 3. So maybe not quite the result he was hoping for. Either way, a 2-0 count here to start the at-bat, and a new pitcher coming into the game here for the Wareham Gatemen. It'll be Marcus Johnson, who gets his first 3 pitches off the plate. Count starts off at 3-0 here on Prez Kavanaugh, who's already reached on 1 walk today. From the windup, Johnson kicks and delivers, and this is going to miss outside and low. So Kavanaugh aboard here with a leadoff walk, and I believe now all but 1 inning in this game, the Mariners have had the leadoff man aboard.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing an excellent job from the leadoff spot. Granted, you know, they've been aided a bit by this Wareham pitching. Of course, had a couple of walks last inning, or pardon me, the inning before in the 4th. But nonetheless, it's a lot of the same from this Wareham pitching staff so far today, where they're falling behind in counts early and they're really not battling back too well. One guy has taken advantage of that, stands in now in Brock Wilkin, who has already walked twice today, and he'll watch the first pitch miss down here for ball 1. Book does close on Ethan Chanault. He goes 1 1/3, gives up no runs on 2 hits, walks 2, and strikes out 3. And he is replaced, as we mentioned, by Marcus Johnson, who has delivered 5 pitches home, all 5 of them outside of the strike zone. And Wilkin will hand him one here, make it a 1-1 count, takes a big cut. Had a ball outside of the zone. Yeah, Wilkin, not a guy who's going to take all 4 of those pitches. He's going to want to hack at something. So an enticing enough pitch there from Johnson to get him to bite. Johnson actually making his CCBL debut here this evening. Has not had an opportunity to pitch yet. And one of the more interesting notes here as the count goes 1-2 on Wilkin. We talked about it. The Harwich Mariners had just 1 guy available in the pitching staff that they had not seen so far this year. With all the departures to Team USA, there are 6 of those guys here for Wareham that have just been signed and have not yet made their CCBL debut. One of them out of Long Beach State is working on the mound right now. Johnson looking for a bounce back here after walking the leadoff man in Prez Kavanaugh. Has Brock Wilkin in a 1-2 hole. Here comes the pitch. And that will miss down and away, count even at 2-2. That's a nice take at 1-2, being able to hold off of something that was just low and outside. And now you have a conversation on the mound here between Frechette and his pitcher. If continuing to get loose in the Mariners bullpen right now is the aforementioned Carson Seymour. You get the feeling that it'll probably be his game, although a couple of quick outs to end the 6th for Razelman. We'll just have to wait and see how this plays out. But either way, the Mariners are going to get Seymour at some point or another. Looking to close out a victory here and get back on the winning side of things, something they've done a lot in front of this home crowd so far this season. Right now, looking for insurance runs. Wilkin at the dish with a 2-2 count. Marcus Johnson sets and fires. He'll miss a fastball low, and the count goes to 3-2.
Harwich may be getting a couple of fans that missed out on their game that was supposed to be played against Brewster the day before the 4th of July. As you mentioned earlier, Tim, a pretty good crowd on hand here tonight.
Certainly, and you know you have the day off here on a Monday.
Payoff pitch swung on and laced into the gap in left center. That will get down right in front of Diodati. And a single here for Brock Wilkin gives the Mariners 2 runners aboard here with nobody out for Jordan Beck.
Wilkin, he's had a nice day so far. Only got as far as third twice, but with that hit there, he's continuing his success of getting on base and helping his team out in this one. And now you have a guy in Beck who's also had some success at the plate and trying to follow up his last at-bat, his single he had, with another one.
This could be one of the few even-keeled victories that we see for the Harwich Mariners so far in 2021 as well. What I mean by that is you look at the 4 wins that they've had, they have been nothing short of explosive in those games. Talking about 37 runs in their 4 victories. I know that's the number we've thrown out a couple of times. Of course, they scored 11 in 2 of those. They scored 10, I believe, in 1 other. But we really haven't seen kind of the low-scoring, almost 4-2 variety like we see here on the scoreboard, where the pitching comes in, takes care of business, and the run support gives just enough to the guys on the bump to get the win. Kind of a traditional baseball victory. We have not seen that out of the Mariners so far this season. It really has been kind of all or nothing when it comes to the offense. First pitch here, breaking ball at 71, in if there for a strike to Jordan Beck.
No, it does, and it feels like a complete game so far for Harwich to this point, and that doesn't always have to mean blowing the doors off the other team on both sides of the ball. You know, pitching a no-hitter and then blowing them out for double-digit runs. It's having games like this where you're able to get a handful and just keep the other team below you.
Absolutely. Of course, the one game that Harwich had something similar to this ball swung on and getting well under it is Jordan Beck. Settling under it to make the catch is Despina for out number 1. There was one game kind of like that. I'm going to kind of eat my words a little bit here. Harwich did beat Hyannis 5-2. But aside from that, again, 11, 11, and 10, the run totals for the Mariners. And it seemed like in those games, it wasn't that the pitching really performed admirably. Those games were all awfully close. That game out in Falmouth rings a bell as Carter Putt steps to the dish with 1 away. An 11-9 victory that night for the M's.
Yeah, that one, I mean, the thing with that was weird is it was all Harwich at the start and all Falmouth at the end. It wasn't both teams through and through battling back and forth.
Yeah, 1 push and 1 pull, if you will, as this pitch misses low for ball 1 to Carter Potts. So Putz digs in. Again, a runner in scoring position here. Press Kavanaugh on second base. Just 1 away in the inning. In middle infield at double play depth. This one will miss up and in. Count starts at 2-0 here on Putz. And similar to the 3 guys that have come before him, Marcus Johnson really not worried about trying to get ahead of guys here early.
No, I mean, it was a 3-0 count to the very first batter in Kavanaugh, and now a 2-0 count here to a guy in Putz who's going to be patient.
This one swung on and fouled back to the screen here. That'll make it a 2-1 count. Of course, where the Bourne Braves are able to pick up a loss today, the Hyannis Harbor Hawks may be thinking that their fortunes would turn around. So far, that has not been the case. In the bottom of the 8th, they still trail 4-0 to the Chatham Anglers at home. Here, it's the Mariners up 4-2. As the runners will both go, the hit and run very much on there, but the ball fouled off by Carter Putz. Bit of a roll of the dice there for Coach E.
I like the play call. Try to be aggressive. It's a tight game. You don't know what Wareham's going to be capable of come their final 9 outs of the game. So try to generate some offense, get guys going, and for Putz, just sliced it off. So might have to settle for a base hit if he's able to try and drive runs around.
Opportunity right now with a 2-2 count, although he'll have to be careful. Here comes the pitch, and he will lunge at this one and foul it off. Of course, the Hyannis Harbor Hawks also taking a loss of the different variety to our very own Colin Casey, who's on live tweeting duties today, and beat the Harbor Hawks by exactly 1 minute on getting back at Bourne a little bit here on Twitter. Be sure to follow us at Harwich Mariners for updates on all of your Harwich Mariners related news, scores, and updates throughout these games. Quick pickoff move back to second. It's a good one, but not on a line here, as turning and firing to the bag was Marcus Johnson, but not quite right at Troy.
Yeah, that had a good chance. Kavanaugh was pretty far off the bag. That one was more direct. Certainly had a chance to get Kavanaugh out.
So here we go. 2 balls, 2 strikes. A very defensive at bat being had right now by Carter Putz, who has 2 RBIs already today. And another step off and a look back to second here by Marcus Johnson.
Kavanaugh's taking some pretty big leads over at second.
Certainly has.
He's feeling comfortable out there at the bag.
Yep, and we know what kind of speed he has as well. We've already seen the Mariners try to go to the hit and run. Not something you typically try twice in the same at bat, but you never know. The 2-2. Swing and a miss. He got him swinging. Carter Putz down on strikes here. Becomes the first strikeout victim of the day. Retired by Marcus Johnson. 2 away in the inning here for Chris Newell. Chris Newell in today. His Virginia teammate is not in the lineup today in Max Kodiak. As again, Harwich trying to play around with some of the new pieces here and figure out who will slot into the everyday roles. Right now, it's Chris Newell at the dish. Again, picked up his first hit back in inning number 2. This is just the second game. This one gets away from Frechette, and the runners move up again. So second and third here, 2 away, and an 0-1 count to Chris Newell. The Mariners only up by 2. They could really use a run or 2 here if they can get him.
And you know what? Last time, or one of the last 2 times that these two were on base, in Kavanaugh and Wilkin, it was similar situations where they're taking advantage of mishaps either on pass balls or wild pitches by this battery here for Wareham, and they're taking bases. So Mariners jumping on opportunity this game. That's something that they let Brewster do a lot yesterday that they're doing themselves today.
Chance for redemption here for Chris Newell. With an 0-1, he'll watch this in the dirt, and I believe the count should be 2-1. After that pitch in the dirt allowed the runners to move up to second and third. This one misses down as well, but count is in fact 1-1. So Newell digging in. He was in this exact same situation back in the 4th, the 1-1. That'll miss down. Count goes to 2-1. He had runners on second and third. 2 away. He struck out looking to end the 4th. One thing we also see here, Tim, Marcus Johnson not exactly in a hurry out there on the mound.
No, he's taking his time in between pitches, and you'll find that.
2-1, swung on and hit right at the first baseman, scooped up by Despina, who steps on the bag, and that will end the 6th. So the Harwich Mariners head into the back third of this one, currently leading at 4-2 over the Wareham Gatemen, who will have Frechette, Fergus, and Troy due up when we come back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Tim Foley, a new hurler coming onto the mound. And go ahead and give you the introduction here from the man who will be doing play-by-play for the next 3 innings, Tim Foley. Tim, take it away.
Thank you, Tyler. It will be Carson Seymour, righty out of K-State. He's been a guy who's had a lot of power this season for the Mariners, as his warm-up pitch there clocks in at 94 miles an hour. So far on the season, He's 2-0 on the year. He's been able to pick up a few wins in his relief appearances. Got an ERA currently sitting at 169. He's pitched 5 1/3, given up 3 hits, allowed only 1 run, walked 3. And the big number for Seymour, he's struck out 9. So he's had an excellent eye for a strikeout ball. He's been pitching it well so far this year for Harwich, and he's going to look to do so across these final 3 innings in a big spot. Harwich looking to keep pace in the East with YD, of course, winning today. They'll extend their lead at the front of the pack. Harwich at the back, looking to keep up.
Absolutely, and a quick tip of the cap to Eric Razelman, whose day concludes 2 2/3, gives up 2 runs on 2 hits, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts here in his CCBL debut. Looks like bright things ahead here for Eric Razelman's 2021 season. But now, it's on to Carson Seymour.
And he'll be pitching against the catcher out of George Washington, Anthony Frechette. Frechette so far 0 for 2. Trying to find some success in the leadoff spot. Wareham has not had much of that this evening. None of the leadoff guys have gotten on across all 6 innings. And the first pitch to him is dropped by McKeithen out of the zone for a ball, 1-0.
And a first batter out, just kind of an instant momentum killer. If you're coming out of the dugout, you're looking to get amped up, and the first guy gets out. It doesn't change everything, but it makes it more difficult to just pile on.
As this pitch ends up being fouled off, count goes to 1-1, and you could certainly say that holds true for Harwich on the opposite side of things, where they've gotten the leadoff guy on a couple times so far today, 5 times by my count, and they've got 4 runs on the board. They've had some success and one of their better outings at the plate, despite not putting up a double-digit spot like we've seen them in their previous successful days when batting. Count here to the batter for Frechette, 2-1.
Of course, the question is going to be, is it going to be enough? 11 runners left on base already for the M's here.
The 2-1. Swing and a miss on the 94-mile-an-hour fastball from Frechette. He goes down 2-2. On deck is Cade Fergus. We'll also see Tommy Troy. The 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Down goes Frechette. 1 batter, 1 strikeout from Carson Seymour. Blew it by him 94 miles per hour.
Yep, great start to the day here for Carson Seymour. We've talked about it a lot, maybe even talked it to death, but the extra velocity he's picked up from 2019 to now. I had a chance to ask him about it a couple of days ago on an interview that unfortunately due to Wi-Fi will have to come out tomorrow, but we will get that up on our Twitter page. But again, he said, you know, it sounds simple, but I mean, lift weights, throw hard. You keep that up long enough, you're going to see an increase in velocity, and it's certainly worked to his credit.
Fresh count now to the batter, Cade Fergus. Fergus 1 for 3 on the day. He takes it for a called strike 1. And certainly Seymour, a guy who has the frame to be able to throw at that velocity, so taking advantage of it and getting stronger. As that one blazes by at 91. Count now 0-2 on the wave and a miss from Fergus.
And again, his slider is his best pitch, so you increase the velocity. You also set things up really well for yourself if you bring that slider home. It can be tough for a guy to see, and again, if you're not sitting on the right pitch, it can be tough to keep up.
Seymour ahead here in the count, 0-2. On deck is Troy. Here's the pitch. Fouled off. Just cracked off the bat down that first base side. Foul. And kind of a half swing on that one there from Fergus as he stays alive.
Yep, and that's really all you have to do sometimes. Just wait until you get a pitch that you like. And with an 0-2 count, obviously, again, Seymour's got options if he wants to waste something in the dirt here to try to get a guy to chase. But we know the attitude of Seymour. He may be goofy sometimes, but he's a competitor on the field.
The 0-2. Gets it by him. Strike 3. Strikeout number 2 for Seymour in 2 batters, and he's looked really good through the first 2 faced here in the 7th.
Yeah, Seymour not messing around. And, you know, just given how much time it takes a pitcher to recoup, this may be, again, we don't know for sure, but this could potentially be the last outing we see for the 2021 season out of Carson Seymour. You just don't know. You know, with the draft coming up here, a lot of those guys have already departed the Cape Cod Baseball League, and Seymour may be the very next one. But for now, trying to give Harwich everything he's got left in the tank here, closing out the mid part of the summer season.
First pitch dealt into Tommy Troy, misses up high for a ball. course, the MLB draft taking place on July 11th. That is coming up this Sunday. It'll then stretch out into the 13th, so big couple of days as the next pitch is in for a called strike that are going to shape the rest of the Cape Cod Baseball League season. Count here sits at 1-1. On deck is Cade Kern. But Tommy Troy, he's 0 for 3. 1-1 pitch, fouled off. Looks like he took a piece of that one. He's hunched over now. And trying to stay off of that right leg for too long is Troy.
Yeah, always, obviously does not feel good. You foul one off yourself, and again, insult to injury. When it comes off your bat, instead of taking first base, it just goes down as a strike. So he's behind 1-2. He'll have to recover here. Is taking a little bit more time than usual, and the home plate umpire giving him some cover here by dusting off home plate. Always good to see the umpire, again, help the pitcher, you help the batter, you help the catcher, anybody that isn't feeling particularly well. And it looks like for the time being, Tommy Troy ready to step back in with a 1-2 count.
Yep, still taking some warm-up swings here. His home plate umpire still making sure things are squared away, and that's one of the things I always appreciate seeing in baseball is the camaraderie among those who are standing in that batter's box behind the plate, and then, of course, for the umpire himself standing behind the catcher, you are in the danger zone, so to speak, especially with a guy like Seymour. He throws it hard, it's going to foul off hard. 87's fouled off. Count stays at 1-2.
I remember one time, in the interest of fair play, which is kind of an interesting word to throw around in sports circles because some people love it and some people don't, but there was an umpire that just wasn't granting that to the batter, and off a foul tip, you saw the catcher actually brush a bunch of dirt onto home plate so that it had to be cleaned off to give the batter some time.
1-2, got him swinging. Down goes Troy. It's strikeout number 3. Seymour strikes out the side. We move now to the bottom of the 7th inning. Mariners going to look to add on some insurance runs. They're ahead 4-2. We'll be back in a flash here at White House Field. Don't go too far. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back with you now here at White House Field. Aaron McKeithen up to bat for the Mariners. A new pitcher on the mound for the Gatemen. It's Andrew Walters. Walters coming in out of Miami. One of these guys who is yet to make his debut in the Cape League. We talked about a few of them still here for Wareham as they brought a lot of guys in to make up for a lot of guys going out. Walters being one of them. And Wareham looking for some kind of relief effort where as McKeithen swings at this one, he's behind in the count 0-2 where you have a guy on the mound who has a bit of control, and so far to the batter McKeithen, it's looked like Walters has had that.
Yeah, obviously a 2-run ball game. If Walters is pitching well, you might keep him in here. As he gets
strike 3 called. Down goes McKeithen looking. McKeithen hesitated for a moment, thought he might have had the first ball of the at-bat, but down he goes, and it's a strikeout looking to open up this relief appearance for Andrew Walters.
But on the other side of that, let's also keep in mind that with all the new guys, this could quickly turn into kind of a pitching exhibition as they just try to get as many arms in there as they can to see what they've got.
As first pitch dealt here to Zach Preisner, misses for a ball. Preisner, one of the few guys to not get on base. In fact, the only guy to not get on base so far today for Harwich, as he's been 0 for 3. Count here stands at 1-1. Grounded out to short twice and then struck out looking for the first out of the 5th inning.
Yeah, this has been kind of a tough stretch for Preisner, who did have a couple of really good outings to start his 2021 summer.
1-1 pitch. Checking his swing is Preisner. That one missed up high. Count now 2-1.
Kind of a similar theme back against the Katuitt Kettleers in that 10-3 victory. Preisner 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts in that game. 1 for 3 with 3 strikeouts the day before in the Bourne tie.
2-1 pitch misses up high. Preisner now ahead in the count, 3-1. That pitch clocking in at 94 miles an hour. So some speed from Walters, but it's about being able to locate it. As he got the first batter, McKeithen, to swing. And swinging here is Preisner. Count now full 3-2.
Yeah, and Preisner maybe just trying to do a little too much right now. You're seeing some really big cuts. We know he has the power numbers, but right now, just trying to find a way to put the ball in play, get the leadoff or the second hitter of the inning aboard here. So for the second time in this game, the Mariners failed to do that.
Payoff pitch is fouled off. Count stays at 3-2. Let's take a brief moment, take a look around. Out of town scoreboard, of course, as mentioned earlier. YD beating Falmouth 5-4. Katuitt did end the Bourne Braves' undefeated streak. Bourne now sits at 9-1-2. That game going into a 2-0 final. And the pitch on the full count missing outside. And so Preisner walks over to first base, as that is his first appearance on base so far this game. Now you have Hal Hughes coming up to bat. Struck out last time up. He has come around to score once so far in this game. Another final to report as a conversation being had on the mound between the catcher Frechette and the pitcher Walters. Chatham beating Hyannis 4-1. Another Eastern Division opponent for the Mariners picks up some points. And then you have some division play going on between Brewster and Orleans. Those two teams duking it out. Those two teams currently holding the 2 and 3 spots in the division currently. Orleans at 13 points, Brewster at 12 points. Would be a big swing either way for either team to pick up a win. So that's 3-0 Brewster in the bottom of the 7th inning. And of course, here we are in the bottom of the 7th inning. 92 miles an hour from Walters. Count now sits at 1-0 to the batter in Hughes. He's got a man on first in Preisner, who was just able to walk, got on for the first time. Runner goes in Preisner. He'll have to go back to first after Hughes fouls that one off.
Yep, and Hughes being a little more patient here than what we saw early on. Of course, he didn't have a chance to be patient in his first at-bat as he was hit and then reached on a walk, but very quickly got himself into a precarious position back in the 5th and struck out swinging.
It's a 1-1 count still. Pitch chopped up in the air. Runners charging in at it, and that one's going to get down in fair territory. In fact, it's bobbled by Cade Kern. Going to third is going to be Preisner. Sliding in safely. Pulling the runner off the bag is Williams, rather. Williams was pulled off the bag to make the catch, and now you have runners on the corners for Harwich.
I am not 100% sure what happened out there in right field because Kern came in. It looked like he was going to scoop it up. It should have kept the runner at second. The next thing you know, the ball is away from Kern. He may have scooped it out of his glove. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't see exactly what happened out in right field. But either way, that allowed Zach Preisner to go ahead and take off for third, and the throw wasn't going to get there in time. So golden opportunity here for the Mariners with runners at the corners and one away. And they've been doing this all evening long. Tatum Levens, we've seen what he can do in big spots this season at the plate.
It looked like Kern tried to barehand that ball, and then coming in from that right field position, he was heading towards the foul line. As he botched the bobble, it gave the ball some movement beyond that foul line over towards that Wareham bullpen. Of course, wearing the glove on his left hand, bare hand on the right. It's a 1-0 count to the new batter in Tatum Levens. Levens 1 for 3 today, had a single in his first at-bat. Gets a piece of one here, fouled back into the glove of Frechette. Count 1-1.
Yep, and he's evened it out here on Tatum Levens, who led off with a single and since then has just been a little impatient at the plate. Does have the one walk and the run scored, but a couple of early count groundouts for him in this one.
The 1-1. Down in the dirt, gets away from the catcher, but he holds on to it actually, and throwing down to second, he gets Hughes. Hughes thought he had more time than he actually did with Frechette bobbling the ball behind the plate. Makes a dart of a throw down to second, and an easy tag for, I believe, Tommy Troy coming over to apply the baseball.
Well, and the other thing there too, with the right-handed or with the left-handed hitter at the plate, middle infield was sitting back around double play depth, so you had the opportunity. Hughes thought he might have been able to beat even a throw to the bag with nobody covering.
And so with Levens still at the plate, he now no longer has a runner standing on second, and there is an out against him. So that rules out the sac fly opportunity for Levens should he have gotten a fly ball into the outfield. He'll have to rely on a base hit to help drive home Zach Preisner, who still stands over on third. 2-2 count, no outs, the pitch. Hit on the ground to the shortstop, Morales. He bobbles it for a moment, throw on to first. Got him! Out is Levens. He can't believe it. And the inning will end. Preisner does not come home to score. Levens really in disbelief. He had a good jump on the ball, and Morales took some time over at short to collect himself and make the throw. Ultimately finds a way to do it in time, and the Gatemen get out of the inning without allowing Harwich to score another run. So they'll look to turn that defensive momentum into offense when we move to the top of the eighth. We'll be back in just a minute here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to White House Field, still a 4-2 lead for the Mariners. Leading off here for the Gatemen, Cade Kern. Cheese Chucker still on the mound. Carson Seymour, he'll look to do his second inning of work. Struck out the side swinging last time around.
It's got to be one of the best Twitter @s in the league, right?
Certainly is.
Cheese Chucker 35 is a good one.
I mean, that just lends to his goofy personality, but nothing goofy about that pitch. 90 down low gets Kern to swing.
Well, nothing goofy about this outing either. He's faced 3 batters. He's set down 3 batters, all on swinging strikeouts, and he's out ahead of Cade Kern, 0-1.
Kern, a guy 0 for 3, struck out swinging his last time at the plate. Gets a piece of one, sends it foul towards Wilkin's way. Count now 0-2.
Yep, and this is the dangerous part of the lineup here for Wareham. Kern, Diodati, Morales. These are the guys that have been getting it done. Justin Williams with a 2 RBI double to drive in the only 2 Wareham runs of the day after that. So things are not going to get any easier here, but if Harwich can get a couple of quick outs, you like their chances regardless of who's on the bump in the 9th.
The 0-2 pitch is spoiled off by Kern. We'll do it again. As mentioned, Owen Diodati will come up to bat, and Yohandy Morales, pardon me. Morales and Diodati, each of them getting on base at least 2 times. Morales 3 times. That pitch misses on the outside part of the plate. Count goes to 1-2.
Didn't miss by much, but just off the plate, as you mentioned. A good frame job attempted there by McKeithen. And a tough layoff there by Cade Kern.
Seymour comes set, stares in. The pitch. Holds off on 87 miles per hour down low. Count now evens out at 2-2.
Yeah, tries to get him to chase there. May think that Kern's mentality is with how close that pitch was, he'd come right back at him. Tries to waste one there, but Kern wise to it, evens the count.
The 2-2 pitch. Ball hit on the ground. Preisner charges at it, but it gets underneath his glove into the outfield. Safe on first will be Kern. And the first man on in the inning is on via error.
And most of the time when we see an error in this league, it's kind of a close bang-bang play where the guy rushes a throw. That was just a simple error. That ball coming right at Zach Preisner, right between the wickets. And that'll put the leadoff man aboard here for the Gateman.
It's just a matter of not wanting to get too ahead of yourself. And in that moment, Preisner, an eager jump at that ball, lets it slide right underneath his glove.
And once again, the tying run now at the plate in the 8th inning. Still just a 2-run advantage for the M's.
And not the guy you want to see if you're Harwich. Of course, Seymour confident in his stuff as this ball misses the zone. Count goes to 1-2 at 92 miles per hour. Owen Diodati, as he has been 2 for 3 today. 2 singles in each of his last bats. And he's also come around to score once. So he's continued his streak of excellence for the Gateman. This pitch running inside. Count now 2-0.
Yeah, and Seymour, I mean, one of those guys that typically does work from the stretch. He's had plenty of experience there. And not sure what has shifted here in his mentality. Just a couple of pitches outside of the zone. Nothing too concerning, obviously, but not quite pounding it the way we saw him do earlier.
2-0 pitch. Battles back to find the strike zone at 92 miles per hour, 2-1. And Seymour, certainly you had to expect that pitch was going to be over the plate, not wanting to mess around, not wanting to fall behind and account 3-0. You respect the kind of hitter that Diodati is, but you have to believe in your stuff. 2-1 count. Swing and a miss. Gets him to offer at that one. Count now even at 2-2.
I believe this is the longest at-bat we've seen out of Owen Diodati as he put the first pitch that he saw in play through his first couple of at-bats, and then early in the count was able to reach on a single back in the 6th inning.
Tough to find that one and get a piece of it at 96 on that last pitch from Seymour. Nods, delivers. This pitch up high. Count's going to run full here for Seymour. Haven't seen too much of this. Of course, struck out the side last inning, and then, of course, with Kern, did not run full. So, chance here for a walk for Diodati. We'll see what Seymour opts to throw. Count full here, 3-2. Runner goes for second. Throw down to the bag. Takes a skip. And in safely is going to be the runner in Kern, but down on a called strike is Diodati. So that is strikeout number 4 for Seymour.
Yep, and a good attempt to get him down at second, but more importantly, they get through Diodati, and this is really, again, these 3 guys in the lineup are the ones that have been giving Harwich trouble. The top 3 guys in the lineup so far this evening are 1 for 10. The bottom 3 guys are 0 for 9 with 5 strikeouts. So you get the feeling if you can get through Morales and Williams, who stands on deck, you like your chances with the rest of the guys. As now we're going to have an umpire conference just in front of the mound.
Yeah, not entirely sure what they could be talking about. The 3 umpires here having discussion.
Talking about potentially batter's interference, but it was a quick conversation as they rule nothing, no harm, no foul there. And that'll put the runner in scoring position here.
With that last strikeout, that is the 14th strikeout we have seen from M's pitching so far tonight. Another night of excellence from this pitching staff, at least through the first 7 1/3. Ball misses to the batter in Yohandy Morales.
Yeah, Morales, the only guy right now on either roster's reached base in every at-bat so far. Couple of walks for him, a single. Advanced to second on an error back in the first.
The 1-0 pitch. He'll take it in the zone. Called strike 1. 96 again from Seymour.
Yep, and again, every Gateman batter that comes to the plate represents that crucial tying run here.
The 1-1 pitch. And again, another called strike. And Morales not seeing Seymour too well here. Seymour just blazing it by him. Tough for Morales to even offer at any of these pitches with the speed at which it's flying by him.
Yeah, Seymour really working the edges of the plate well in this game.
The 1-2 count. Seymour peeks back to second and delivers. Swing and a miss, strike 3. That's strikeout number 5 from Carson Seymour, 15th strikeout by the Mariners this evening.
And notably, every single batter that Seymour has set down has been a strikeout. The only guy to reach base on him was Cade Kern, who did so with an error, but this will bring up Justin Williams, who had that monster 2 RBI double that cut the lead in half back in the 6th inning. Still a very dangerous hitter at the plate here.
And he's looking to drive another one across. Of course, doesn't have 2 runners on this time as he did in Morales and Diodati last time around. He does have Kern standing on second. As this ball gets away from McKeithen, runner goes to third safely. So with 2 outs, now a runner standing on third for the Gateman.
Yeah, that one clearly just slipped, as that was well over the head of McKeithen, even with a jump out of a squat. And that'll put the run 90 feet away here. But with 2 away, still little to no consequence here in the inning. Just looking for 1 more out any way you can get it.
And with Seymour not even thinking about that runner currently standing over on third, as he has been dealing, striking out 5 batters through an inning and 2/3 of work. The 1-0 pitch. This ball hit out to right. That's going to get down. Coming home to score is Kern. Heading over to second is Williams, and it's another double for Justin Williams that drives in a run.
Yep, that's 2 doubles on the day, 3 RBIs for Justin Williams, and that brings the Wareham Gatemen within 1 run of evening this thing up. Unfortunately for them, assuming they don't make any substitutions, and actually we're going to see one now. We got a pinch hitter coming in here for Wareham. Hitting in place of Jack Brannigan, it's going to be Jim Jarvis.
Jim Jarvis, the lefty, batting out of Alabama so far this season for the Gatemen. He's batting .275. He's got 11 hits, 2 doubles, 4 RBI. He's walked 6 times. He's also struck out 8 times. Got a different look here as opposed to Brannigan, who had been 0 for 3. 2 outs here. You have Williams standing on second. And that is a hefty lead taken by Williams over at second. Count now 0-1.
Yeah, and obviously you're not going to hold the runner on second base, but just trying to make some noise behind him, try to get him to stay a little bit closer. Again, that is a crucial run right now. He represents what could make this a 4-4 ball game.
And Harwich not wanting to tie or fall behind in this one as the 0-1 pitch finds its way in for a called strike, 0-2. The double from Williams brought in a run, and now you have Despina who's standing on deck. Should the batter in Jarvis be able to get on base? That ball runs in on him, 88 miles per hour down around the ankles. So that will send the batter Jarvis down to first.
And I don't know, I've never seen that approach before. I don't know if you noticed that or not. Jarvis was choked up about halfway on the bat, and he was leaning over the front, crowding it. And draws the contact and gets the job done, I suppose. As that will bring up Angelo Despina.
Wareham opting to keep Despina in the game. Another guy for the Gatemen who is 0 for 3 as pitching coach Steve Gruenberg on the mound now. They'll have a conversation. There is somebody warming up in that Mariners bullpen.
Looks like Owen Cody.
Owen Cody, the lefty out of Penn. We'll have to see as Gruenberg having a conversation. Of course, Seymour should stay in the game. We'll see how short the leash is here, though, with a runner on second, just 2 outs. Seymour looked good to open up this inning. But you think back to that error and how now with an RBI come across and a runner in scoring position, how costly that could prove for Harwich.
Yeah, it certainly could. And now you're talking about not just the tying run at second, but you've got the go-ahead run standing on first base with some pretty decent speed over there. So Despina, yes, he's had his struggles today, 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, but 1 swing of the bat, and I'm sure all of that would be forgiven.
First pitch seen by Despina. Misses away. 1-0.
And Seymour trying to be a little bit cautious here. He's really only given up solid contact once. Keep in mind, Cade Kern should have been out. This inning should already be over, but the E6 kept it going here, and the Gatemen with an opportunity.
So the run, of course, unearned since he got on via error. And McKeithen, the quick pick back to first. He had the base runner in Jarvis dead to rights. He was well off the bag, wasn't expecting a pickoff attempt, but just the throw was ever so slightly errant, and then Putz trying to make a quick play, brought his glove back down a hair too quick. It bounced out, and the play fell apart for Harwich, but a good look down to first by McKeithen.
Yeah, they tried the back pick there, but Putz a little bit concerned about getting the glove down, didn't focus on getting the ball into the mitt first. So the situation stays the same.
It's a 1-1 count, still 2 outs. Swing and a miss, count now 1-2.
I think part of that conversation Coach Berger may have had out there with Carson Seymour was, hey, don't worry about trying to paint the corners. Just go at these guys. We know what Carson Seymour is capable of. He's already struck out all 5 outs he's recorded. One more would certainly not go amiss here. And you see him get a little bit more aggressive going at Angelo Despina, who's already struck out 3 times.
Went after him with that 97-mile-an-hour pitch, fastest we've seen from Seymour this evening. Pitch fouled up and off. Count stays at 1-2. 93 on that last pitch.
Yep, and again, Seymour not afraid to just try to challenge guys over and over again. He's got the kind of velocity that, again, he's not throwing triple digits, but he's got the heat and he's got the slider, and that's enough to make a guy think twice about trying to sit on a fastball in a situation like this. As Despina already has the golden sombrero, trying to avoid the platinum upgrade.
Despina, 3 strikeouts, 2 of them looking, 1 of them swinging. This one on the inside part of the plate, just missing a 94 count, now 2-2.
Yeah, they may have gotten a touch away from Seymour there, likely not trying to draw him in with the inside pitch. And now with the count even, as you mentioned, we'll see if he goes back to the fastball.
Seymour nods, found something he liked. Exhales, delivers. This pitch fouled off to our left. Count will stay at 2-2. And Another fastball from Seymour.
And really, again, for Seymour, just mixing in those 2 pitches right now, not really messing around with anything else. Fastball, slider, that's his go-to. That's what he works with. And, you know, there's not such a tail off in velocity. It's not like you're dropping 10 miles an hour off of it for something like a curveball, but the movement is completely different. And so right now you're seeing a really defensive at bat here for Despina. He's doing everything he can just to try to put the ball in play. No home run swing, just being very protective of the strike zone here with a 2-2 count.
Seymour comes set. The pitch. Just misses inside, count now full.
Yep, and there's that slider again, this time on the inside, or just off the inside part of the plate. And this is absolutely monumental right now. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and again, 2 away in the inning. Don't want to load the bases here. For, at least for now, Anthony Frechette standing in the on-deck circle.
Frechette still with his catcher's gear on. Payoff pitch. This one sent out to the gap in left center. Coming over to make the catch in a big spot, Press Kavanaugh. Able to help keep runs off the board and keeps Harwich in the lead. 4-3 Mariners going into now the bottom of the 8th inning. Harwich is going to look to add on a few insurance runs before trying to secure the final 3 outs of the game. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go too far. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field. Press Kavanaugh, after making that catch out in left field, now coming up to bat. A big catch to be able to come over and prevent Wareham from tying this game. First pitch he takes from pitcher Andrew Walters. In for a called strike. Walters, of course, still on the mound for Wareham. Came in last inning, had a strikeout. Next pitch misses down low, 1-1.
Yep, and for Harwich, anything they can find a way to scratch across here would be absolutely monstrous. As again, this is really one of the tightest games we've seen the Mariners play in, certainly the tightest of the low-scoring ones.
Ball fouled straight back by Kavanaugh.
And we kind of had the question we asked earlier, you know, with the departure of Aaron Holiday, who becomes the new go-to guy for the Mariners in a situation like this? It looks like the answer to that could certainly be Owen Cody, after a really good relief outing a couple of days ago.
Pitcher and Walters steps off for a moment. I was about to ask you about that. You're wondering whether or not Seymour sees another pitch in this game. They may just opt for the fresh arm as the 1-2 skips away inside from the catcher Frechette. 2-2 now.
Well, it's not just about opting for the fresh arm. You look at the spot in the order, Frechette's going to be the man due up on the other side. He's already seen Carson Seymour once before. So you get an opportunity for everyone that comes up to face somebody they have not seen before. You don't let Seymour go a second time through the lineup.
2-2 pitch fouled back by Kavanaugh, and certainly a good point. You don't want to let Wareham get too comfortable. You know, you see a guy who can throw in the mid-90s once already, and you do start to get more of a feel for the timing of it. And so you definitely do not want to have to put him against your guy again as this ball gets down in the dirt. Count now full here, 3-2.
You're also talking about a completely different style of pitcher. Carson Seymour working fastball, slider. Really not going to see any pitches under 85 miles an hour. You bring in a guy like Owen Cody, a lefty who has 3 pitches, curveball and a changeup, much different.
This ball popped up by Kavanaugh, settling under it the third baseman Williams, and he makes the catch. 1 out in the inning. This brings up Brock Wilkin.
Yeah, and I really like what I've seen here out of Andrew Walters so far. He has been very confident. He hasn't been afraid to try to pound the zone, but he's also come back and gotten a couple of key strikeouts when he's needed them. So an opportunity now to face the heart of the order with Wilkin and Beck due up next. And, I mean, again, the Mariners just trying to find a way to distance themselves a little bit and not make it to where one swing at any point in the inning could tie the game. Reminder, of course, no extras this season.
No, not at all, as this ball fouled off. Count goes to 0-1. Wilkin so far today, 1 for 2. Singled in his last at-bat. He has walked twice as well, so he's gotten on base a handful of times so far this evening. Trying to replicate that here. Behind 0-1. Takes this ball, sends it out to left field. That's going to get down for a base hit. And Wilkin, he's going for 2. He'll be able to get it pretty easily as that one got into the corner for Diodati. A 1-out double for Wilkin.
And again, just a look at Brock Wilkin's day so far this afternoon. 2 walks, a single, a double, and oh yeah, by the way, the F8 that he recorded back in the first inning, the only reason that was an F8 was an amazing catch out in center field to rob him of what would have probably been his 3rd hit of the day.
Home plate umpire checking over, trying to get a new set. Now you have Jordan Beck coming up to bat. Beck's gotten on base twice so far today. He's had the 1 hit back in the 4th inning. Flew out to first in his last at-bat in the 6th. He's got a chance here with 1 out to drive home his teammate in Wilkin. And the first pitch he sees, reaches after it, certainly in an aggressive mindset as he reaches after one that was on the outside part of the plate, off on the outside part of the plate at 88 miles an hour.
Well, you can go on the attack a little bit here. You've got a runner in scoring position, 1 away. At the very least, you're trying to move that guy up to 3rd, give Carter Putz an opportunity to drive him in. He's already got a pair of RBIs today.
Crowd having thinned out a bit here. This one turning into a bit of a lengthier game. The 0-1 pitch swung on again by Beck, 0-2.
Yep, that game out in Orleans starting to catch up a little bit. The only other game still active in the CCBL right now, top of the 9th, the Whitecaps with a narrow 3-2 lead over the Firebirds.
Yeah, Brewster looking to string together some wins and trying to cement themselves as one of the top teams in the East. It would serve them well to beat Orleans, who are just ahead of them. 0-2 pitch misses up high. 87 miles an hour, count now 1-2.
Of course, keep in mind the last time Brewster and Orleans played each other, it was a 19-6 victory for the Firebirds. So a slightly better result on the way so far here for the Whitecaps.
And, I mean, they rebounded about as well as you could have after a tough loss, beating this Mariners team the way they did, as Beck fouls one off.
And I think that was kind of another question we had coming into this game. How are the Harwich Mariners going to be how are the Harwich Mariners going to respond after kind of just getting nickel and dime to death, it seemed like a day ago? Only 2 extra base hits in that 7-0 loss at Stony Brook. But they came back, and to their credit, I mean, offense, defense, and pitching, with the exception of the 1 error that allowed a run to score, so far pretty solid for the M's.
The 1-2 pitch misses outside, 88 miles an hour, 2-2. Still just 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. It would serve Harwich well to get another one, as Wareham's been able to scratch a few across in these recent innings. The 2-2. Again sliced off by Beck. Count stays at 2-2. That last pitch coming in at 90 miles an hour.
Yep, another good defensive at bat here for Jordan Beck. Aside from that strikeout back in the third inning, he's been pretty patient so far today. He was able to work his way into an RBI single in the fourth, and then, as we mentioned, patient enough to reach on a walk in the first. So, not trying to get too aggressive here, especially with a 2-2 count.
Walters delivers. Pitch missing inside. Count's going to be full here, as Frechette leaned over to his left to make that catch, had to adjust. Pitch came in at 76 to run the count full.
And this feels like a big out for Walters to get because, again, you've got an RBI machine in Carter Putz standing on deck. You do not want to walk a runner aboard here for his next at-bat. You want it out if you can get it.
3-2 pitch, swung on and missed by Beck. Down he goes swinging. Second strikeout of the day for Beck. Second strikeout of this appearance for Walters.
Yep, and here comes the aforementioned Carter Putz. 2 RBIs for him already today, but a strikeout in the sixth. And he'll be facing off against a very tough guy here in Andrew Waters, who has seemed to kind of have the M's number here so far, just the 3 base runners allowed.
He does have Brock Wilkin standing on second. Wilkin with that 1-out double with nobody on to get himself standing on second. This ball gets away from the catcher, Frechette. Wilkin will take third. Now you have a man on third with 2 outs.
And again, we cannot emphasize how important that run is. Just 90 feet away and an opportunity to re-extend the lead up to 2. And Wilkin right now getting some instruction. I don't think he would have gone. Getting some instruction from Coach Tebow, but that ball for the time being got away from the pitcher. Waters let it roll, and the shortstop wasn't really paying attention, so he had to run out to retrieve it.
And it's those little things you need to really stay on. You need to stay vigilant, stay alert, as any small error could be costly in a game like this one that's been tight down the stretch here. It's a 1-0 count to Carter Putz. Struck out his last time up. He did have an RBI on his ground out to third back in the fourth. Hits one up the middle here. That's going to get through. Brock Wilkin comes home to score. An RBI single for Carter Putz. Another RBI for the Notre Dame product. And it's now a 2-run lead for the Mariners. They lead it 5-3.
And whether it's on a hit or some other way, Carter Putz just finds ways to drive in runs. And again, he's not crushing the ball. His slugging percentage is very okay right now, but he is quickly becoming one of the biggest sources here for the Harwich Mariners in 2021 of manufacturing runs, and he does so here. M's on top, 5-3.
So 2 outs still. Now you have Chris Newell coming up to bat. Newell had a single back in his first at-bat to lead off the second inning, but has since gone 0 for 3 with a fly-out, strikeout, and a ground-out. And he takes a cut here. Misses 0-1.
Yeah, sometimes you see things kind of shift the other way. We talk about an early hit can give you some confidence. Sometimes it gives you a little bit of overconfidence. You feel like you've gotten activated. That may be the case here for Newell, who it was pretty patient through that first at-bat, but after that we've seen that dip off just a little bit.
Walters delivers. That pitch looks like it missed down low, perhaps. 1-1.
You also wonder, as I mentioned on the other side of the break, yes, it's your leadoff guys, some of the guys that have been doing well for you this season, but right now you've got Tommy Troy, one of the guys due up, and Anthony Frechette. Those 2 guys are 0 for on the day.
Ball foul tipped back into the glove of the aforementioned Frechette. Count now sits at 1-2.
Talking about a group of guys due up that is 1 for 11 with 6 strikeouts today.
So perhaps some lineup changes coming for the Gatemen in that inning. You worry about defensive alignments after the fact. 1-2. Pitch up high. Gets Newell swinging. Down he goes. Out number 3. Third strikeout for Walters in his appearance. We move now to the top of the 9th inning. An insurance run is tacked on by Harwich. It's a Carter Putz single that drives home Brock Wilkin. We'll move now to the top of the 9th inning. Harwich looking to hold on to this one. We'll be back in just a minute. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Top of the ninth we go. New pitcher on the mound for the Mariners in Owen Cody. He is coming in relief of Carson Seymour. Seymour on the day. He pitched pretty well, came in, pitched the final 2 innings, or the previous 2 innings, I should say. As first pitch dealt into the batter in Frechette, misses ball 1. Seymour struck out 5 batters across the final 2 innings of work. And now a 1-1 count here from Cody to Frechette. Cody in his last outing pitched a single inning, didn't allow any hits, runs, walks, struck out 3. That was, of course, in that game against YD last week, where Mariners weren't able to pick up the win, but nonetheless, a solid outing from Cody. He was ahead there, 1-2, fouled off. Count stays 1-2.
And we'll still see if he still has the strikeout virus he seemed to have caught from Trey Dombrowski, who struck out 10 batters right before Cody came on and finished his work. But again, as you mentioned, the Mariners not able to get the win that day.
1-2 pitch. This one hit. That's going to be picked up by Preisner. Throw on to first. He got him. Nice move by Preisner, able to hustle over to his left. Wasn't entirely close to where that ball was going, but hit softly enough that Preisner was able to pick up the time to make the throw over to first. And there's 1 down now in the top of the 9th.
Yeah, that was an incredibly soft line drive. I almost wondered if Preisner was going to be able to have a chance, because you can't charge in on a ball like that. You don't want to play it off the short hop, but at the same time, has to turn and fire quickly. Fortunately, the guy he was throwing after was Anthony Frechette, the catcher.
Showing bunt is the leadoff man, Cade Fergus, back to the top of the order now. And as mentioned, this is a new pitcher for the Mariners. Fergus has not seen him yet, and so gives the Mariners the edge in that sense. You bring a guy in the 9th as Fergus calls time. You bring a guy in and throws catchers off their groove, or batters, excuse me, as they can't find, or perhaps they will. But you have to adjust quickly within this at-bat. Behind the count 0-1. Now 1-1 is Fergus.
Yeah, and not even showing bunt there is Cade Fergus. Again, he knows too. He's 0 for 3, 3 strikeouts against 3 different pitchers here.
A big cut there. 1-2 now the count.
But not the typical big cut we see. That was more arms than legs. He took a step a little bit late that time. Kind of had to try to do it all in one motion, and it looked like just kind of flung the bat in the general direction of the ball. Really poor swing there.
And the 1-2. Strike 3 swinging. 93 miles an hour from Cody as he's able to record the 2nd out of the inning. And now Harwich an out away from recording their 5th win of the season.
And everybody just ganging up on Cade Fergus today. All 4 Harwich Mariner pitchers get a strikeout of Cade Fergus. And as you mentioned, Mariners looking for 1 more to close this one out. This would be a feel-good win for the M's if they can find a way to close the door here.
Tommy Troy now steps in for the gateman, and it certainly would, as the first pitch to the new batter, swing and a miss at 74. We've seen some mid-90s stuff from Cody, and a big drop there as perhaps Troy in the on-deck circle was trying to match the timing. 0-1 pitch. He holds off of it. It misses. As count here 1-1, but Harwich, a complete performance on both sides of things, including a late run to respond to Wareham's in the 8th. Another big cut from the batter, Troy. He's behind now, 1-2. Cody, the 1-2 pitch. Did he go? He got him. Strike 3 swinging, and that's the ball game. Down goes Tommy Troy swinging, and it's a 5-3 victory for the Harwich Mariners over the Wareham Gatemen. Owen Cody solid in that final inning of relief, forced the ground out, then came back to strike out the final 2 to record the victory for the Mariners. Another solid relief appearance for Harwich, as a lot of their relievers today pitching well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody that ran through did a great job, and the M's get the win ultimately on the day.
We'll be back in just a minute to tally the stats, give you a final recap of this one. Don't go too far. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into White House Field here in Harwich, Massachusetts. A 5-3 victory for the Harwich Mariners. Final line here. Mariners 5 runs, 10 hits, and 2 errors. Meanwhile, the Gatemen 3 runs off of 6 hits and 1 error. And it felt like this was a pretty complete outing today for Harwich, Tyler.
Yeah, really just the second time I think that we've seen this from the M's, but you're talking about you get a really good start from Spencer Giesting, who doesn't give up any runs. Your bullpen looks solid all throughout, and the offense produces consistently throughout the game. Picked up all the runs they needed, and they come away with a victory. So yeah, a complete win for Harwich. Really only 2 of those so far this season, but if they can replicate this going forward, it's going to be a solid season here for the M's. They start to string it together in the middle part.
So the win goes to Carson Seymour, who is now 3-0 on the season. Owen Cody picks up the save for the Mariners. And Harwich, they're going to see these Gatemen again soon. They have the off day tomorrow. However, they will travel to Spillane Field over in Wareham on Wednesday to face off once again against these Gatemen. Wareham looking to battle back and pick up a win against this Harwich team. But that continues the story this season of Harwich's success over these Western Division opponents. And you're lucky you have this kind of success, and you want to try and carry it on into these Eastern opponents as well.
Yeah, and that's going to be the key. I mean, obviously trying to get the Eastern wins. The Western wins are great, but the Eastern wins are what's going to put you in the playoffs. So they've got to find a way to start having success against YD, Chatham, Brewster, and Orleans. But for now, you take the wins where you can get them. You worry about tomorrow. For today, it's a win for the Harwich Mariners.
So once again, that'll do it for us here from White House Field. The final score, the Harwich Mariners 5, the Wareham Gatemen 3. For all of our production crew here, Matt Lucy, Chris Cassidy on PA, Colin Casey doing the live tweeting, all that. My broadcast partner, Tyler Henry. This is Tim Foley. Thanking you so much for watching tonight's coverage of the Harwich Mariners. Again, join us for our radio call this Wednesday. Tyler Henry and Colin Casey will be on the call for that one. Should be a good one. I'd like to thank you all again so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.